Part 61. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 610. After finally regaining his balance, he looked at the man opposite him, whose green robes were flying, his energy and blood rising hundreds of feet, and his whole body shrouded in heavy flames. Wuxian. How is that possible? Nothing is impossible. Lu Nu looked ugly and her eyes were solemn. Who are you? There is absolutely no existence like you in the world of Shushan. I've told you my name a long time ago. As for the rest, it's just that you are ignorant. If you have any other moves, feel free to use them, otherwise I will take action. Lu Nu's expression changed. After taking a deep look at him, she activated her magic power and a silver-white jade hairpin flew out from her dantian. Is this the star-absorbing divine hairpin you put at the bottom of the box? The middle-grade immortal weapon of the 5 immortals forbidden is considered rare in this world, Su Junming said. Lu Nu stared at him closely, and under the influence of magic power, the hosta instantly turned into a huge black circle of light, from which unimaginable powerful swallowing power emanated. Spanning 100 feet, it enveloped Su Junming. A silver-white phantom of the divine gate flashed past, and all the swallowing power that entered within 1 foot of him was instantly sealed and frozen. Su Junming shook his head slightly as he looked at Lu Nu opposite her, who was desperately trying to activate the star-absorbing hairpin. It seems that's all you have. Just when he was about to take action, Lu Nu shouted angrily, her bun exploded with a bang, and her white hair flew into the air. Beiming devouring heaven technique. The clouds above the head transformed into the vast sea, and an extremely large narwhal emerged from the sea with its head. It was as if the head of the ancient giant mountain opened up, and the sky instantly turned dark. A vast and powerful force, as if it swallowed up the heaven and earth, devoured morality and spread. The power of the star-absorbing hairpin instantly became more than 10 times stronger. Su Junming was unprepared and was instantly sucked into the air and flew backwards. He raised his eyebrows and immediately stopped hiding his cultivation. The powerful and boundless energy and blood exploded, and with one punch, the billowing energy and blood dyed the sky red. A fist as big as a mountain exploded in the air and spanned 100 feet in an instant. Boom! Destroy and destroy. Lu Nu and the star-absorbing hairpin were instantly blown away. As the red blood fell, a ray of light shot out far away as if it were flying. I just want to run away now, it's too late. With one step, the space folded instantly, and when he reappeared, he was already in front of Lu Nu. The latter looked horrified and exclaimed. The secret technique of Hushan. Smiling faintly, he raised his right palm, black divine patterns flashed, and the shadow of a giant black clock flashed past. Along with the loud ringing of the bell, a powerful force of soul-falling power erupted. Su Junming, who has advanced to the level of true immortal, activates the magical power of the soul-falling bell. The woman Lu was unprepared for the collision, her eyes rolled white, her 3 souls and 7 souls were floating, her escape light was scattered, and she fell down from the air in an instant. Su Junming stretched out his hand, and a white light held up Lu Nu and the star-absorbing hairpin, and quickly flew down from his palm. With a flash of dark black light, the human soul divine gate instantly sucked out Lu Nu's soul. A series of lights and shadows flashed by, and Lu Nu's memories of thousands of years of learning Taoism were all displayed in front of Su Junming. Beiming giant divine skill. A rare technique for practicing the way of devouring. And it is extremely complete and can be cultivated to the golden immortal realm. This technique is suitable for practicing the thief soul devouring body. After recording the exercises in Lu Nu's memory, Su Junming took her magic bag. As a veteran immortal who has been practicing for thousands of years, Lu Nu's collection is not large, but every piece is a fine product. It's a pity that most of them are spiritual materials, but the fairy root spiritual grass that Su Junming wants most is not available. Of course, it's not that I don't have it, I just don't have it with me. The barren mountains in the east and the star plains in the south of the North Sea. It's a blessed land. With a wave of his hand, Lu Nu was taken into the Basehu White Tiger Hall and imprisoned. He had no burden in his heart about capturing Lu Nu. He is just a person who is both good and evil. He has many merits and deeds and also many evil deeds. At the moment when Su Junming captured Lu Nu, millions of miles away, in the sun of a huge mountain tens of thousands of feet high, in a valley full of green bamboos, the calm breath suddenly trembled. The bamboo leaves rustled, and a short old man with grey hair wearing a clean bright yellow gee opened his eyes instantly. 2 bolts of cold electricity passed through the air. His brows were furrowed. What's going on? Why did the morning platform suddenly issue a warning? He subconsciously wanted to deduce, but after pinching a few seals, he quickly stopped. Because of the scattered secrets, it is impossible to deduce them. Almost forgot. Look up at the sky. Is it my illusion? It seems that the power of this chaotic secret has become stronger. Shaked his head. His incarnation is walking outside. For so many years, except for the emergence of the Chongshan sect, there has been no shocking news. In this case, what can give him a warning is related to himself. He has no disciples, and although he has a few enemies, they have already ascended to great heights and turned into catastrophes, and he is not afraid of the rest. After some analysis, did something happen to that old godly woman? He has 3 brothers and sisters, he is the eldest, Lu Nu is the second, and De Ming Master Han Xiao, who has been promoted by the soldiers of Heshadeo, is the third. When I thought of Madame Lu, my heart sank, and my uneasiness became a little more intense. Kuzu frowned. His cultivation has reached the peak of immortality, and his spiritual sense is extremely sharp, especially when it comes to matters related to himself. It seems to be her. I wonder who this old woman has provoked. With one step, the light flew up, heading straight towards Nanxing Yuan. Although the 2 brothers and sisters had a falling out because of something many years ago. But after all, they were brothers and sisters from the same section, they had broken bones and connected tendons. If something happened to Lu Nu, he couldn't ignore it. Flying over Dawang Mountain, we came to Shanyan. Compared with the blooming flowers and brilliant sunshine in the mountain sun, the wind and cold rain in the mountain shade are cold, desolate and lonely, with little life. The dead bamboo flew into a valley, and the world seemed to have changed in an instant. Lush flowers and trees, rippling streams and springs, and a 100-foot silver waterfall flowing straight down come into view. Against the backdrop of the desolate cold outside, the valley becomes even more beautiful and pleasant. The withered bamboo stood at the mouth of the valley and flicked his fingers. Dong dong dong, 3 loud sounds. Old woman, why don't you come out to meet your senior brother? After a moment, a ray of light flew out of the valley, and after landing, a young girl appeared. This woman is also really ugly. The head is big and the body is flat, the eyes are huge, the head is full of yellow hair, the head is as thick as the neck, the upper body is very short, the lower body is quite long, the hands are longer than the knees, the palms are as big as dustpans, the legs are thin and the feet are big. Wearing a yellow brocade shorts, his arms and legs are completely naked, revealing his tight white flesh, with patches of red in the east and purple in the west. His whole body is colorful, looking human but not human, strange but not weird. Kuzu frowned slightly. He didn't like this ugly girl either, but she was very popular with his junior sister and was regarded as the heir to her legacy. Meet the great uncle. The girl quickly bowed and saluted. Get up. Bai Dian, is your master here? Back to my uncle. 3 hours ago, my uncle received Xingxiang from sister Dongyang asking for help and left in a hurry. Dongyang? But that person from Panluo Immortal Mansion under Taidao Gorge. Exactly. After the old man Kuzu asked about the situation, the light flew up and flew straight towards Taidao Gorge like lightning. He was already at the peak of immortality, and with all his strength, he could be said to be flying like stars and disappearing in an instant. In less than an hour, we arrived at the top of Tideo Gorge. The escape light circled around for thousands of miles before finally determining its location. Seeing that there were only scattered green and black stone mountains standing on the sea, Kuzu's heart sank. To be able to directly change the terrain of Tideo Gorge, there is no doubt that there are Earth immortals with extremely high cultivation levels, so fighting here is possible. Going deep into the water, the 3,000-foot palm print left by Su Junming came into view. This person has such a strong cultivation level. My heart became heavier and heavier. After looking around the entire Tideo Gorge and Paneo Immortal Mansion, I still found nothing. He stretched out his hand and grabbed it, hoping to collect the strange energy from this place and search for the enemy. But Su Junming has become a true immortal, and his breath is not revealed at all, so he cannot be searched at all. Instead, he found the auras of Longxian and Dongyang. One person and one dragon once again lived in the cave for hundreds of years. Su Junming did not specifically clean up the traces, so of course there would be traces left behind. Look at the two auras in the palm, one black and one blue. Nowadays, only a dead horse can be treated as a living horse doctor. Sitting down cross-legged, the seals in his palms changed, and auras of spiritual light soon bloomed. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 611. After Su Junming left Tideo Gorge, he headed straight to the North Pole. As far as the eye can see, the scenery is getting more and more deserted. As the temperature gets lower and lower, large icebergs gradually appear in front of you. The light escapes and falls. Soon we came to the mountainside of an iceberg several hundred feet high. An ice cave deep into the mountain appeared in front of us. With a wave of his hand, the cave entrance that was mostly sealed by ice and snow melted away instantly. Just big enough for one person to enter. Stepping in, passing through the long and narrow ice cave, there is a piece of thick ice at the end. With a flick of the finger, a foot of ice disappeared instantly. Taking 2 steps forward, an ice cave about 100 square meters appeared in front of him. Sitting cross-legged in the center of the ice cave is a female crown wearing a purple Taoist robe, her hands in the mudra, her face calm, and her feet bare. This person made no sound, and his whole body was covered in a thick layer of light blue ice. Judging from the ice chips accumulated in the cave, it has obviously been here for many years. It's your luck to meet me. Just as he was flying in the air, he suddenly found a trace of merit energy floating above the iceberg. Out of curiosity, I came down to check. If the bronze mirror hadn't been able to observe people's luck and merits, and he was a true immortal with sharp eyes, he might not have been able to detect it. Through the bronze mirror, one can see that the mana in the dantian of this woman's crown has not been exhausted, and although the energy and blood in her chest are stagnant, it is not completely cold. Apparently, she's still alive. But now he is in a half-dead state. Seeing the merits of this person, Su Jun knew enough to save her. However, this person has been sealed in the ice for too long, and his body is stiff. It is obviously inappropriate to melt the ice with fierce fire. It's best to consolidate the foundation and practice pure yang externally. With his mind set, Su Junming activated the talisman of good fortune in his dantian, and a light of good fortune flew through the ice and into Nu Guan's body. Her sluggish, almost dead qi and blood suddenly became stronger. Qi and blood flow around the body, and the body begins to slowly regain its vitality. Use the aura of creation little by little to warm and nourish qi and blood. After seeing that his internal organs had initially recovered, Su Junming raised his right palm, and a faint golden light of pure sunlight emitted scorching heat. The ice on the outside of the crown began to melt. It took another 3 hours before the blue ice was completely peeled off. Su Junming immediately withdrew his palm and continued to use the aura of creation to strengthen her energy and blood. With her left hand, she squeezed the magic formula and slowly absorbed the cold air that had accumulated in her body for who knows how many years. Gradually, the vitality in this person's body became more and more vigorous. After a long time, he slowly opened his eyes. Looking at the tall Taoist sitting cross-legged across from him, Envy Guan's pale and thin face showed an extremely stiff expression of gratitude. "Thank you, Senior, for saving your life." Su Junming nodded slightly. "Looking at the situation here, you must have frozen yourself here, right?" Senior's Dharma vision is correct, that's right. "Why?" "In my early years, I was young and energetic, hated evil as much as I wanted to, and killed so much that I became possessed by demons in my heart, and my path almost collapsed. Therefore, I was cruel and sealed myself in this Arctic iceberg, hoping to temper my will through the hardships of the ice and defeat my inner demons. In total, it has been nearly 320 years. You have very strong perseverance, but you are not afraid that you will die here completely? You must know that if Pandeo was not good at the art of looking at Qi and happened to see you, your body would have been completely frozen to death. Returning to the seniors, I am quite good at the magic of heaven. Before sealing myself, I deduced the future and calculated that after 380 years, a female crown named Su will pass by here and rescue me." This time Su Junming was a little surprised. The requirements for the understanding of Tianji Shushu are too high, and it is difficult for people who have outstanding talents and extraordinary understanding to achieve it. And looking at this woman's cultivation, it's obvious that she is just a soul. Being in the realm of Yuan Shen can calculate the situation 400 years later. It can be seen that her progress in Tianji Shushu is no worse than that of Zhuge Wolong. Eh? How could Tianji be so chaotic? The female crown said in surprise. She originally wanted to deduce and prove her ability, but she didn't expect that she noticed something abnormal as soon as she started. Su Junming smiled faintly, of course this was his handiwork. "May I have your name?" Returning to Senior, Junior Guyu, his Taoist name is Zhu Xin. Zhuexin, just by looking at this Taoist title, he knew that this person was a ruthless person back then. Senior has no way to repay the great kindness of saving his life. This 8 phases of taking is an immortal artifact of Zifu that I received in my early years. I would like to offer it to my senior as a token of gratitude. As he spoke, a ray of fairy light flew out from his danshan. After arriving in front of Su Junming, it turned into a 3-foot-sized, pale white scroll embroidered with Bagua runes. Divine consciousness immersed, and the 4 immortal prohibitions came into view. I was surprised. It's actually a middle-grade immortal weapon. Moreover, it is also a treasure that is suitable for deduction and can protect oneself and kill the enemy. It can be seen that this is the most important treasure around this woman. Are you really willing to give this to me? Senior has a very high level of cultivation. Only this 8 phases of taking around me can still enter my senior's eyes. When he just saved her, Su Junming showed his magic power, and she naturally felt the vast, profound magic power of the other party. He is definitely a senior true cultivator who has been an immortal for many years. Moreover, no matter how good the treasure is, it is only an external possession and is not as important as one's wealth and life. Su Junming looked at her with appreciation. There are so many people in the spiritual world who are willing to give up their lives for treasures, but those who can carry them clearly and know their priorities are very rare. It is even more rare that this person has a strong will, is devoted to the Tao, and has extraordinary understanding. Do you have a teacher? In my early years, I got a Taoist book deep in a Lao mountain and used it to enter Taoism. I didn't have a teacher to follow. In that case, how about I find a master for you? Master? Guyu was stunned. That's right, this person is a female crown just like you. She has practiced Taoism for many years and is now in the middle stage of Earth Immortal. She is gentle and good at medicine. She has countless people alive in Jiangnan and has profound and extensive merits. May I ask, Senior, what is this person's name? This person's surname is Chiao, his first name is Shaoxin, and his Taoist name is Fairy Kong Sang. After keeping it in mind, the person recommended by the senior must be extraordinary, but the master chooses the disciple, and the disciple also chooses the master. The junior still needs to do some research before he can finally decide whether to become a master. Haha, it's all up to you. A casual wave. Take this 8 phases diagram of taking back. I won't be able to use it. Subconsciously catching the treasure, in addition to the scroll, there was also a talisman on it. If you follow this talisman and search for it, you will naturally find your master. There were only a few lingering sounds, and the person was gone. Guyu kowtowed respectfully before standing up. Feeling the long-lost warmth in her body and the boiling mana in her danshan, Guyu instantly felt as if she had lived a new life. Hidden in the air, looking at the disappearing light in the distance, Su Junming looked away for a moment and nodded slightly. This Guyu's qualifications, understanding, character, and perseverance are all the best choices. If he hadn't just accepted Miao Chufang and no longer wanted to accept any more disciples in a short period of time, he would have just accepted her as his disciple. But now, with Jiao Shaoxin's cultivation and magic power, he is enough to serve as her master. The North Sea is millions of miles away from the south of the Yangtze River. Even with the flight speed of Yuanshen monks, it would take half a month to land. Seeing the long-lost land again, Guyu felt excited. Not long after walking deep along the Yangtze River estuary, I felt intense mana fluctuations in the air. Someone is fighting. Curious in my heart, I flew over and saw a man and a woman surrounding a boy about 11 or 12 years old. The man was tall, with a beard and a ferocious look on his face. He wore an iron crown on his head and was dressed as a tutu. He had a handy shovel in his hand and was blazing with fire when he waved it. The woman, dressed in pink peach blossoms, held a sword secret in her left hand, commanded a light red flying sword from a distance, and stabbed in the air. On his right hand, a rope made of pink peach blossoms was flying around his body, with pink auras protecting his whole body. The young man surrounded by the two men was wearing a moon-white Taoist robe, with a gold rope tied around his waist, and a yellow-skinned gourd hanging from his left waist. He was handsome, and high-spirited. What is impressive is that there is a red mark between his eyebrows, which looks like an eye. 3 feet above the head, there is a milky white cloud floating about 3 feet above the head. The clouds are full of aura, holding a green bamboo staff, an octagonal palace lantern, and an iron cart shaped like a pangolin. The man and the woman both had the cultivation level of the early Yuan Shen stage, but they were suppressed and beaten by this young man who only had the cultivation level of the late nascent soul stage. Once the two people's attacks entered the boy's body, 1 green, 1 silver, and 2 stone gate projections flashed past. The flames and sword energy of the two people disappeared instantly. On the contrary, the octagonal palace lantern above the young man's head shot out streaks of fire, the bamboo stick turned into shadows, suppressing the two of them. Damn it, Jin, our brother and sister have no grievances against you these days or in the past. Do you really want to fight us to the death? The big man said angrily. The young man smiled calmly. You indeed have no grievances against me, but the tens of thousands of people around Chongming Island have been oppressed by your brothers and sisters. There are nearly 1,000 women whose reputations have been ruined by your brothers and sisters, and nearly 1,000 men who have lost their lives. It can be said that there are many evil things. In the near future, I will do justice for heaven and kill you, a pair of villains. Humph, you really think you've got my brother and sister, the woman said angrily. Brother, show him how powerful he is. The man nodded. The two raised their hands at the same time, and 2 pink auras shot directly above the young man, and instantly turned into 2 large nets, which were placed under the hood. The lights of the octagonal palace flickered, but they did not burn through the net. He, our Peach Blossom 7 evil net is made from 10,000 refined iron. Even though your fire is powerful, it won't be able to burn through it in a while. The woman smiled charmingly. Little brother, seeing that you are almost an adult, why not follow your sister? How about your sister teaching you how to be a man? The young man snorted coldly. Peach Blossom Fairy Liu, you are a slut who is capable of all things. Do you really think that a broken net can trap me? I thought to myself. This Jianling golden lamp is an immortal weapon given by the master. Although it has the seal of the master and cannot be cultivated enough to show its true power, if it is a critical moment, if you pray silently, the seal will be restored on its own, temporarily dispelled. It's just that this method of suppressing the bottom of the box should not be used lightly. After making a decision, the young man changed his finger skills, and the green phosphorus rush that had never been used on the heaven of creation above his head instantly bloomed with spiritual light. With a swish, the jade phosphorus rushed into the sky and turned into a drill bit and cold iron leaves, exuding a sharp aura that could cut through gold and jade. Tao Chuo's face changed drastically. No, please withdraw the network quickly. Unfortunately, it's too late. The Peach Blossom 7 evil net collided with the drill bit formed by countless iron pieces, and was instantly crushed to pieces. Damn it, my baby. Liu ignored the pain in her body and urged the Peach Blossom 7 evil sword to face the drill with a sharp sword energy. But when the sword energy touched it, it was instantly crushed to pieces. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 612. Go. The young man activated his magic power, and the milky white cloud above his head, which was also his natal treasure, the Chen Tianluo, shot out a milky white spiritual light. With its blessing, the biphosphorus Chong rotated faster and more than doubled in size. In the frightening sound of breaking the seal, biphosphorus rushed straight towards Natuchuo. The latter's face changed greatly, and he waved his iron staff desperately, and fireballs flew out, but he was unable to resist biphosphorus's crazy sprint. Brother! Liu screamed and hurriedly activated the magic sword to attack biphosphorus. Boom! Thunder and huge earthquake. The astonishingly powerful biphosphorus rush was instantly blown away. The young man reached out and took back the treasure, then looked cautiously at the old man who suddenly appeared in mid-air, wearing yellow linen clothes and with white beard and hair. Who are you? The old man reached out and made a move, and a black, round iron ball the size of a basketball flew into his palm and disappeared. Just now, it was this iron ball that blocked biphosphorus. This old man has lived in the bottomless pit of Tailiang Mountain in the North Sea. He is nicknamed Old Man of the Golden Wind. I would also like to ask my little fellow Taoist to reward me with a small amount of noodles and spare the lives of these 2 evildoers. Dad, what are you talking about with him? If you and I work together, we're afraid we won't be able to take down this bastard Sanhua, Tao Chuo said angrily. The experience of almost dying at the hands of the opponent just now made him scared and angry. Dad, brother is right. His treasures are of extraordinary quality. Killing him will help you and I share the benefits. Shut up. Old man Jinfeng shouted angrily. He secretly sent a message. What do you two know? This person is a direct descendant of Chongshan. Killing him is easy, but from now on we will be hunted to death by thousands of disciples of Chongshan Academy. Especially Su Junming, the founder of Chongshan, is one of the greatest monks in the world. The 3 of us combined are no match for him. Dad, what are you afraid of? The world is in chaos now. The worst we can do is hide in Bihai and never come to the Central Plains. I don't believe that people from Chongshan Academy can find us. Dad, What eldest brother said is that if you cut the grass without removing the root, it will grow again when the spring breeze blows. Get rid of this little bastard while his cultivation level is not high, otherwise we will create a problem today, and when he becomes a soul in the future, we will not be able to. It's our opponent, Liu said through a message. Boom. Suddenly, a surging flame spiritual energy interrupted the communication between the father and son. He concentrated his attention and saw the octagonal palace lantern in the white clouds above the boy opposite him. His aura rose sharply, breaking through a limit in an instant. In an instant, a mighty flame spiritual energy gathered. Immortal weapon. Old man Jinfeng's eyes lit up instantly. You, father and daughter, are all in the same boat, with a lot of sins on your body. Today I will eliminate the evil for the people. Disease. With a sudden shout, the moves changed. The Qianling golden lamp, which has released at least 30% of its power, has unleashed the power that a low-grade fairy weapon should have. The mighty Qian Tian spirit fire rushed toward the three of them overwhelmingly. In an instant, the entire sky turned golden and red. The expressions of the three people suddenly changed. Attack with all your strength, old man Jinfeng shouted. Needless to say, Liu and Sanhua Taochuo Liyushan also knew how powerful they were. Among the three, one is at the peak of his soul, and two are at the early stage of his soul. The magic power is much better than that of the young man, and although the ball in old man Jinfeng's hand is not an immortal weapon, it is indeed a top spiritual treasure that has been practiced for many years. The two cooperated and could barely block the Qianling golden lantern. He has insufficient cultivation and insufficient magic power. As long as he blocks the previous waves, he is not far away from capturing this person. Old man Jinfeng said in a message. Originally, he was a little hesitant about his son and daughter's proposal, but the appearance of these 9 heavenly immortal weapons completely aroused the greed in his heart. Just as the three of them were struggling to resist, old man Jinfeng suddenly gave a mental warning. Wrong. He looked up instantly. At some point, a giant Bagua diagram covering hundreds of acres appeared in mid-air. Above the Bagua diagram, a female crown wearing a purple Taoist robe sits cross-legged. The latter looked indifferent and pointed. Genshin. In an instant, the 8 diagrams' Gen position lit up, and the shadow of a huge mountain was instantly suppressed. The feeling of tens of millions of kilograms of weight pressing down on my body is simply torture. Coupled with the overwhelming dry fire. The Peach Blossom Fairy Liu and the Sanhua Tuchuo Liyushan were burned to ashes before they even had time to struggle. Old man Jinfeng, who had a higher level of cultivation, had to sacrifice his physical body to escape with his soul. But before he could run far, a bell that penetrated his soul suddenly sounded. There was a buzz sound, and there was a huge shock in my head. Half a foot behind him, a black hole opened, and the overwhelming dry sky fire instantly surrounded it. Along with the tragic screams, old man Jinfeng rushed left and right, but he was unable to break through the fire net. It didn't take long before it was reduced to ashes. The young man who withdrew the flame and sealed the Qianling golden lamp again let out a long sigh. Although the time to activate the heavenly fire was short, the consumption of his mana was too great. He quickly took out a few chitinifying pills from the gourd at his waist and drank them, and then his slightly pale expression returned to normal. Looking at the female crown wearing a purple robe in mid-air, the young man's eyes showed a hint of vigilance, and he cupped his fists in salute. Jin Yun, a disciple of Chongshan Academy, would like to thank you for your help, senior. Chongshan Academy. Guyu shook her head inwardly, she had never heard of this sect. It seems to be a new sect that has emerged in the world of cultivation in the past 300 years. But looking at the young man's cultivation and the magic weapon in his hand, he should be a major sect of the righteous way. You're welcome. I just don't want to see these evil cultivators act recklessly. As soon as he finished speaking, he put away the 8 phases of taking, raised his escaping light, and flew straight into the distance. Wait, These magic weapons. Before he could finish speaking, the other party was already far away. This person is quite impatient. Jin Yun put away the magical artifacts and treasure bags left by old man Jin Feng, Li Yu, and Sanhua Taochuo, and then he took off and flew into the distance. Feeling that the talisman in her hand was beating more and more frequently, Lone Yu looked at the small city in front of her. This should be it. The clouds fell and we stepped into the city. Under the guidance of the talisman, after turning a few entrances, a house made of adobe and thatch appeared in front. Above the slightly crude door of the house, on a simple wooden board, the words Chongshan Medical Center were neatly written with black charcoal. Outside the hospital, many people in ragged clothes were queuing up. Looking at them, you could tell that these people were poor. After Guyu thought about it briefly, he activated his magic power and his appearance changed drastically in an instant. She turned into an old lady wearing rags, with a haggard appearance and a sallow complexion. Slowly walk to the end of the line and get in line. After about a quarter of an hour, he walked to the door. A little girl wearing a white robe and a bun with a tight little face stood at the door. Holding a green bamboo stick in his hand, after letting the 3 people in, he quickly blocked the way of the people behind him. Okay, wait until they leave before you go in. Guyu took the second shot and glanced at the little girl next to her. The cultivation level of Jindan stage is calm, and the foundation is obviously very stable. The bamboo staff in his hand is also a top spiritual weapon. He turned around and looked inside. What came into view were 3 rough wooden tables side by side, with 3 women also wearing white robes sitting behind the tables. He looks young, about 14 or 15 years old. Most of the cultivation base is golden elixir. At this moment, they were concentrating on diagnosing the pulse of the patient sitting in front of the table. Judging from their familiar demeanor, they are obviously already experienced players. After asking about the condition and writing down the prescription, the other party took it to the counter next to him to fill it up. It's not that they don't charge anything, it's just much cheaper than outside. Okay, you go in. As long as there is a seat available, the girl guarding the door will let someone in. Guyu walked to a girl with a round face and big eyes and sat down opposite her with a cane. Grandma, what's wrong with you? Ahem, old lady, I've been coughing a lot lately. Is it a dry cough, or is there phlegm? Dry cough. Then you may have caught a cold. As she said that, the little girl stood up. Grandma, open your mouth and let me take a look at your throat. Guyu nodded and opened her mouth in cooperation. The little girl glanced and frowned. The throat doesn't look like it's inflamed. After a pause, Grandma, please stretch your left arm over and I'll feel your pulse. Guyu did as she was told. As soon as the little girl put her finger on her pulse gate, she was stunned for an instant. This pulse direction is healthier than many strong men, and does not look sick. Wrong. The little girl instantly became alert. Even if an ordinary old lady is in good health, she will never have such a pulse. Who are you and why do you come to our Chongshan Medical Center to cause trouble? One sentence instantly attracted the attention of everyone around him. Xiner. The gentle and calm voice, which makes people feel warm and affectionate, came from outside. Following the sound of subtle footsteps, a tall young woman wearing ordinary blue linen clothes and a navy blue floral homespun cloth with black silk on her head, kind-faced and graceful-looking, walked in, carrying a medicine box on her back. It looked like he just came back from a medical visit. Master. The young women around him quickly greeted him respectfully. D'Archiel. The doctor also hurriedly saluted. After nodding to everyone, the woman looked at Guyu. If you don't give up, fellow Taoist, would you like to follow me inside to talk about it? Please. The woman is naturally Qiao Shaoxin. These girls in the Golden Elixir realm are the inner disciples of Chang'an Academy who practice the Tao of creation. After achieving the Golden Elixir, they all continue their studies with her. Learning medical skills, treating diseases, and saving lives is just incidental. Going out from the back door next to it, there is a large yard of about 200 square meters. Herbs are dried in the yard, filling the whole yard with a medicinal smell. Entering the main room, there are just a few ordinary tables, let alone luxury. Even a slightly wealthy family would be better than this place. Please sit down. After Guyu nodded and sat down, Qiao Shaoxin glanced at her. Fellow Taoist has changed his body shape, but what's the reason? Can you see through my Tai transformation technique? Qiao Shaoxin smiled lightly and nodded. What kind of disguise can't be seen through the projection of the bronze mirror in the Danshan? Guyu put away her spell and returned to her purple robe again. My name is Guyu, and my Taoist name is Ju Xin. 300 years ago, because I killed too much, I had a demon in my heart, so I called myself the North Sea Iceberg. Later, I was rescued by a senior. I originally wanted to repay his life-saving kindness. Who would have thought that not only did he return the valuable treasure, he also introduced me to a master and asked me to come here to become my disciple. Hearing this, Qiao Shaoxin understood. That senior is tall, wearing a green Taoist robe, with a gold rope tied around his waist, and a green leather gourd hanging on it. How do you know? Guyu suddenly stood up, looking shocked. That is my mentor. He is respected by everyone in the world of cultivation as the true Lord Chongshan. His cultivation is better than Tianmeng and Beimei. He is the top power in the world of cultivation today. Guyu's pupils shrank. Before she could completely declare herself, Tianmeng and Beimei were the top Buddhist masters in the world of cultivation. Being able to defeat them, the cultivation level of this true Lord Chongshan far exceeded his original expectations. I thought he was very strong at first, but I never thought he was so strong. Looking at the green-robed woman in front of me, her aura is extremely obscure, but she is upright and majestic and full of vitality. It is obvious that she has reached the level of Earth Immortal and has traveled a long way. Such a person is enough to serve as her master. Moreover, from what I have seen along the way, this man practices medicine and helps the poor. Obviously he is also a Taoist senior with profound morals. After a moment's hesitation, he knelt down. Disciple Guyu is willing to become my master. Qiao Shaoxin nodded slightly. Since you were introduced by the master, I will accept you. However, my Chongshan lineage has its own rules. If you want to become a direct disciple, you must pass the earth-level test of the human soul divine sect, otherwise, even if you are even direct blood descendants are not allowed to enter. Disciple is willing to participate in the test. Good. Activate the Danshan human soul divine gate projection. In an instant, a projection of a black divine door 2 meters high, 7 feet wide and embossed with gourd vines appeared in the room. Boom, 2 stone doors opened. You go in. Guyu nodded and stepped in. About 2 hours later, the human soul divine gate instantly bloomed with auras of auspicious colors. Qiao Shaoxin waved his hand, and a 3-foot white cloud floated above his head. The white cloud expanded and instantly enveloped the human soul gate. In an instant, the scenery in front of me changed. When he reappeared, he was already in a pavilion in the lake. He put away the Shenman projection and looked at Guyu, who still looked a little confused. You passed. Being able to pass the test of the human soul gate within 2 hours shows that you really have outstanding qualifications. After Guyu regained her composure, previous experiences could not help but resound in her mind. In just the past 2 hours, she had experienced 365 illusions, each of which was like living a new life. In each life, her identity is different. That kind of real feeling, anyone who enters it will sink into it. I passed. Qiao Shaoxin nodded. If you are willing to become a disciple, from today on, you will be my direct disciple of Chongshan Academy and my 5th disciple. Guyu took a deep breath. The disciple is willing to become a disciple. A smile appeared on Jiao Shaoxin's face. No one would refuse a disciple with excellent qualifications. You come with me. After that, with one step, he was 100 feet away in an instant. Guyu quickly followed. The two of them entered the small island in the center of the lake one after the other. The island is full of flowers, the bamboo forest is quiet, and a rock-paved path passes through the bamboo forest. Soon a two-story wooden house appeared in front of us. In this place with beautiful mountains and rivers, the wooden house looks extremely elegant. After entering the inner hall, turn into the room on the left and you will find a room with a quiet atmosphere. On the incense table next to it, a faint green smoke was burning in a bronze furnace with animal feet, which smelled of musk. There are many books on the bookshelf on the right, and they all have signs of being turned over. They are obviously not decorations. Sit down. After Guyu nodded, she followed Jiao Shaoxin and sat down cross-legged. Master, that divine gate just now. That's a treasure that your master used to sacrifice and practice. After you get started, you will naturally have it too. Guyu's face showed a look of expectation. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 613. She had never heard of a treasure that could create 365 realistic illusions. And just projection can make a Yuan Shen monk like her unable to extricate herself. If it's the real body, wouldn't it be possible for an earth immortal to be trapped as well? Cough. After coughing lightly, Jiao Shaoxin smiled as she looked at Lone Yu, who had come back to her senses. Your master's magical power is so tyrannical that even I don't know his background. The Sankei divine sect is just an extremely common one among his many immortal weapons. Okay. You just started, I will tell you about our Chongshan Academy. In our Chongshan lineage, your master is the founder of the section under your master. There are 7 junior brothers. Our second uncle, whose name is Renwuji and Taoist name is Tai Chi Yin and Yang Zhenjun, is currently in a middle thousand world called Huaxia. Guyu's eyes widened instantly, and with her intelligence, she instantly understood the meaning of the master's words. You mean, besides the Shushan world, there are other worlds? That's right. This world is also a middle thousand world. The lower realm is called Shu Mountain, and the upper realm, which is what you call the Lingkong Immortal Realm, is called Chixian Shenzhou. These two worlds combined are also a middle thousand world. The Chinese world is a Zhongqian world comparable to Chixian Shenzhou. Guyu's expression changed, and her heart was filled with turmoil. Although Shushan world has always had rumors about 3,000 worlds, each of which has 3,000 worlds within 1,000 worlds. But except for the spiritual world, no one has ever gone to other worlds. After taking a deep breath to calm down, he said, Master, are there many other worlds outside? Including Chixian Shenzhou, I have only been to 4 worlds. One is my hometown, a small world with a blessing of about 300,000 miles, one is the Chinese world, and the other is the base camp of our Chongshan Academy, the mountain world created by your master. Chongshan world. Jiao Shaoxin nodded, with a look of pride on his face. After the world of Chongshan was opened by your master, it has been growing rapidly. It is now 30 million miles in size. 30 million miles. Guyu's face was filled with shock. This is almost twice the size of Shushan world. Chongshan world is the base camp of our Chongshan Academy. Almost all of the hundreds of millions of people there are disciples trained by our academy. Guyu could not imagine what a sect would be like if it had hundreds of millions of disciples. But it is absolutely huge and unimaginable. It's a pity that the world of Chongshan is too far from Chixian Shenzhou, and the cross-border teleportation array consumes too much spiritual energy, so except for our direct disciples of Chongshan Academy, most of them can't make it. After shaking his head slightly. Let's talk about your third master's uncle. Your third master's uncle's name is Dragon Emperor, and his Taoist name is Tai 5 Virtues True Monarch. He is currently cultivating Taoism at Snake King Temple in Kangmang Mountain. His cultivation has reached the late stage of Earth Immortal. He is powerful and possesses magical powers. The great five elements divine light brushes away everything, and it once resisted the two monks Tianmeng and Beimei. Your fourth master's uncle's name is Ao Tian and his Taoist name is Taiyuanzai Wei Zhenjun. He is now in charge of Chongshan world. Where are your fifth master uncle, sixth master uncle, and seventh master uncle? Who are their last names? Your master has never said that, and I don't know either. Are these three great uncles also in other worlds? I don't know either. Your master never said that. There was a pause. Except for the 9 members of the first generation, there are more members of the second generation of Chongshan Academy, but there are only 8 direct descendants of our section. Your master's uncle's name is Qinzhong, his Taoist name is Great Sage Fuxian, and he has 2 disciples. The eldest disciple, Ye Tianyuan, has become a true martial arts immortal. Your second uncle's name is Lin Zhengying, and his Taoist name is Wuji True Monarch. 3 of his disciples, the eldest disciple Yang Rong, have become Earth Immortals. I am ranked 3rd, and my Taoist name is Kong Sang. There were 4 disciples before you. Your senior sister's name is Gongsun Juniang, her Taoist name is Suxian Niang Niang. She overcame a tribulation 3 years ago and became an Earth Immortal. She is currently practicing medicine in Yuhang. Your second senior brother's name is Ning Keichin, and his Taoist name is Holy Hand Scholar. He has reached the peak of Yuan Shen. He is currently traveling abroad and will break through in about 3 to 5 years. Your third senior sister's name is Sidu Minjiao. She is currently practicing in our Chang'an Academy and has reached the perfect level of nascent soul. Your fourth senior brother is named Jin Yun. He has outstanding talent. Although he has only been practicing Taoism for a short period of time, he has already reached the late nascent soul stage and is currently traveling outside. From now on, you will be my 5th direct disciple. Yes. Understanding the background of Kongshan's lineage, Guyu became happy in her heart. Such a master will definitely provide huge help for one's future path. Under me, your 4th uncle's name is Yan Chixia, his Taoist name is Beard Sword Saint, and he has 2 disciples. The eldest disciple, Zhuge Liu Yun, is the chief of the sect and the first to become an Earth Immortal. A 3rd-generation disciple. Your 5th master uncle Su Huang, whose Taoist name is Ice Phoenix Fairy. He has 5 disciples under his section. The eldest disciple Fu Qingfeng has become an Earth Immortal. Your 6th master uncle, Zhuge Wolong, is a disciple of your 3rd master uncle. He practices the 5 elements Tao intensively and has 3 disciples under his section. Your 7th master uncle, Chen Lin, is good at swordsmanship and Chunyang Dao. He also has 3 disciples under his section. Your 8th uncle, Miao Chufang, practices the Taiyang method and has 3 disciples. I am the 2nd-generation direct descendant of the Chongshan lineage. Except for your 8th master uncle, who has only entered the Yuan Shen realm not long ago, the others have already achieved the status of Earth Immortal. There are already 5 of my 3rd-generation disciples who have become Earth Immortals. You are the 31st disciple of the 3rd generation of our section. I hope you will practice well in the future and not fall into the prestige of my Chongshan lineage. Yes, disciple, I obey. After smiling and nodding, the projection of a bronze mirror slowly flew out of Qiao Shaoxin's body. Disciple Qiao Shaoxin, today I accept Guyu as the 31st direct disciple of the 3rd generation of Chongshan Academy. I also ask my mentor to accept him and give him the spiritual treasure of the town sect. As if aware of her words, the bronze mirror suddenly glowed with splendor, and aura gradually condensed into the image of a tall young Taoist with a majestic face wearing a blue Taoist robe. The Taoist nodded to Guyu with a smile, then stretched out his hand. Along with a flash of spiritual light, Guyu instantly noticed that there was a bronze mirror projection and 3 stone doors in her danshan. In addition, there is a circle of sparkling light, a hill surrounded by mist, a yellow-skinned gourd, and a green bamboo staff. After doing this, the Taoist figure disappeared instantly. The bronze mirror projection slowly sank into Qiao Shaoxin's danshan. Master, what is the projection of this bronze mirror? This is a precious treasure that only the direct disciples of our sect have. It can increase your understanding several times. It is very precious. You should make good use of it. Improve your understanding. Guyu was shocked. This was the first time she heard of such a treasure. The reason why my direct disciple of Chongshan has made rapid progress is because of this treasure. Guyu took a deep breath, feeling grateful again in her heart. Master, don't worry. This disciple will definitely keep the secret from now on and never let the sect's treasure be leaked. Qiao Shaoxin smiled lightly. You don't have to be like this. Your master is a scholar of heaven and has imposed a seal on the important treasures inherited by our section. Unless you are the direct descendant of our sect, if you tell outsiders the news, even my inner disciples of Chongshan will instantly seal your information about the important treasures inherited by our section information. So, even if you want to say it, you can't say it. Master is so powerful. Qiao Shaoxin's face showed admiration and respect. Your master is the most talented monk I have ever encountered. Guyu nodded, recalling in her mind the previous meeting in the North Sea ice cave. The master's magical power, which was like a vast ocean, and his tyrannical aura were indeed the only ones she had ever seen in her life. Even Ren Xiao, the long-browed master who was famous all over the world at that time, was only comparable to the current master. By the way, master. In addition to the Zhenzong spiritual treasure, master also passed on these treasures to me. While talking, he took out all the treasures given by Su Junming earlier. These three gates, named Celestial Elephant, Ksiddhagarbha, and Human Soul, respectively correspond to the three avenues of Hushan, Seal and Soul. Each has its own magical function. It is also the spiritual treasure of our section. This bamboo staff is called the Sapphire Staff, the gourd is a magic weapon for storage, and the valley is a portable cave. These three treasures are all treasures that can only be passed down from this section. This red ring is called the Dragon Bird Ring. It is also an immortal weapon. It is a protective treasure left to you by your master. The Dragon Bird Ring was obtained by Su Junming from Dongxiu of Ziyun Palace. It is only a child ring, and the mother ring is in the hands of Zhu Mei, a short man. Su Junming didn't bother to exchange, and directly retrained into the Dragon Bird Ring of the three immortal forbiddens. Qiao Shaoxin waved his hand, and a 3-foot-sized white cloud flew out of his body. This is the Tao of Creation spiritual treasure that I refined, and it's called the Celestial Treasure of Creation. This white cloud made Lone Moon feel inexplicably familiar. This treasure is the iconic spiritual treasure of my lineage. Using it as the foundation can double the power of the other spiritual treasures that protect the way. The strongest point of the Tao of Creation is the power of creation. Not only life, but also the blessing of Taoism. Qiao Shao silently activated his magic power, and the same 3-foot white cloud rose from the top door. In the extremely thick clouds, which seemed to contain infinite mysteries, there floated a white lotus, a colorful flower basket, a cyan wooden staff, and a piece of sparkling clothes. It is the white lotus throne, the 7 treasures flower basket, the green divine scepter and the Caixia clothes. Master, the Tao I originally understood was the Aoki Tao. It doesn't matter. With your current state, coupled with the assistance of the bronze mirror, you will be able to understand the Tao of creation to the realm of Yuan Shen in less than 10 years. Before he finished speaking, a ray of light suddenly flew from outside and landed on the ground, transforming into a young man wearing a blue Taoist robe. Master, I'm back. Deng Deng ran in and was stunned when he saw Guyu next to him. It's you. Yunur, do you know each other? Qiao Shaoxin asked. My disciple was previously chasing 2 evil thieves, Liu, the Peach Blossom Fairy, and Li Yishan, the Sanhuatuchuo. Suddenly, he encountered the interference of Taoist Jinfeng from the bottomless cave in Tili Mountain, Bihai. Thanks to this fellow Taoist, we were able to completely wipe out this group of evil disciples. I see. What a coincidence. After waving him over, let me introduce you. This is my fourth disciple Jin Yun, and he is also your senior brother. Lone Moon has met senior brother Jin Yun. Although her cultivation level is high, Guyu, who started late, is still a junior sister. Senior brother. Jin Yun was full of surprise. Qiao Shaoxin smiled and nodded. Your fifth junior sister Guyu is a talented person that your master values and recommended to me. She has passed the Dizi level test of the Human Soul Divine Sect and is the third generation of our Section 11 direct disciples. Yun'er, your junior sister is now at the late stage of Yuan Shen. As a senior brother, you must work hard, otherwise you will fall behind too much. How will you set an example in the future? Jin Yun felt bitter in his heart. From the beginning of his cultivation, he has always been a talented person in the eyes of everyone, a seed of cultivation. There were flowers and applause all around. It wasn't until he passed the Dizi level test of the Human Soul Divine Sect and entered the direct lineage of Chongshan that he truly understood what a genius was. Those senior brothers and sisters who started before him not only have excellent qualifications, but also practice hard. Now they are either Earth Immortals, late-stage souls, or even peaks. Being in the company of such classmates every day, all his pride and self-confidence were worn away. Now that I have finally become a senior brother, I didn't expect that the new junior sister's cultivation level is still higher than mine. How embarrassing it is to be human. After secretly making up his mind to work harder, he respectfully said yes. Well, since you have known each other before, it's up to you to introduce some details of our sect to her. Disciple, obey. After responding, by the way, junior sister. This time I killed the women of the Li family and got a lot of trophies. Just now, junior sister left in a hurry and didn't have time to share the profits. Now that we happen to meet each other, please ask junior sister to pick a few pieces. As he spoke, he took out all the magic bags he had obtained earlier, including old man Jinfeng's natal spiritual treasure, the iron milling ball. Senior brother deserves the most credit for being able to kill the enemy. I was just beating the drum on the side. It's better for senior brother to keep these things. Besides, I already have treasures with me, so I won't need any more. Jin Yun just wanted to continue. Since you have contributed, of course you have to share the benefits. If you can't use it, it would be a good idea to exchange it for some useful spiritual materials at the Chongshan Dharma Assembly in the future, Qiao Shaoxin said. Chongshan Dharma Assembly. The Chongshan Dharma Fair was founded by our master as a place for us practitioners to exchange treasures, Jin Yun said promptly. Qiao Shaoxin nodded slightly. If you have any spiritual materials, elixirs, spiritual insects, etc. that you don't need, you can exchange them for them. Guyu was extremely smart and understood instantly. Master's move is of great benefit to the cultivation world and is a great merit. Your master's great meritorious deeds are not limited to this. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 614. Chongshan World. Su Junming and Ao Tian stood in mid-air. As far as the two men could see, a huge 12-story stone tower, like a mountain, stood in the sky. The stone pagoda is simple and unpretentious, and the atmosphere is extremely vast. Suddenly, an extremely rich 1,000-foot bloody spiritual energy poured out from the bottom of the tower and poured into the world below. About a quarter of an hour later, another 1,000-foot-long bloody spiritual energy flew out of the tower. How? Ao Tian was slightly proud. Through the bronze mirror, Su Junming looked at the millions of prisoners in the stone tower. He watched them activate their mana every day and then be gathered by the stone tower to refine the acquired chaos energy, and the Zhulang family's head hidden on the top of the stone tower. It is their hard work that has allowed Chongshan world to grow rapidly. Good. Ao Tian's expression froze. What do you mean it's okay? Without my hard work, how could the area of Chongshan world reach 30 million miles so quickly? You used my great witch's head as a gift. It would be weird if you couldn't reach it. Just a quick glance, why are these guys so honest? Zhu Panpo, Gu Chen, Ming Sheng Su Wan, Wu Tio Yupo, Yin Yang Patriarch, etc. were all extremely vicious characters in the Shushan world. Looking back now, it is simply strange that these evil demons not only practiced the corrective methods, but also had solemn treasures and appearances, as if they were powerful figures of the righteous way. What else can I do? Just give in. Ao Tian shrugged. No one wants to be a tool here forever in the dark. In order to get out of prison, let alone convert to Taoism, they are also willing to become a monk. Do you really want to let them out? Su Junming frowned. Of course. As long as they serve their 3,000-year sentence, I will release them. Only by having a goal can they work hard. If they do evil after they are released from prison, just catch them. No one in this world can hide it from me. Su Junming nodded slightly. As long as you know what's going on. With a wave of his hand, two sealed souls flew towards Ao Tian. Is this the soul of Lianshan and Panluo? Yes. These two people have already achieved immortality. After reincarnation, their qualifications and understanding will definitely be extraordinary. Then you will be responsible for leading them to the path. Why do you bother to do this? Why don't you just let them ascend? Ao Tian said. She glanced at him and said, high-quality talents are also the foundation of a world. I don't think they can grow up enough to help Chongshan world. Who can say for sure what will happen in the future? With a wave of his hand, several streams of light flew into the two souls. Are you stupid? Are you going to return Weungi and Panluo Kaibao if you are separated? I don't have any use for these things, so why keep them here to increase the cause and effect? Su Junming said. If you don't need it, why don't Qin Zhong and Lin Zhengying use it? I've given them enough. If they have to rely on me for everything, what's the use of these disciples? Hey, when did you change your gender? Didn't you always treat your disciples and grandchildren as treasures before? Ao Tian said in surprise. You talk too much. Yeah, I didn't ask. Ao Tian shook his head. With a wave of his hand, three streams of light flew into the space between heaven and earth. With a boom, it turned into three magnificent gates about 1,000 feet high. It is the three divine gates of celestial phenomena, Ksatagarbha and human soul. I want to use the realm power of Chongshan world, Su Junming said. Ao Tian nodded, and after granting the authority, Su Junming instantly felt a seemingly endless power surrounding him. That kind of tyrannical power that can create new worlds with every move is enough to make any practitioner addicted. He took a deep breath, suppressed the throbbing in his heart, and stretched out his hand. As the heart moved, the vast divine power of heaven and earth instantly enveloped the three divine gates. Under the tyrannical divine power, the Haoshan mirror hanging on the Ksatagarbha divine gate shone with aura. Gradually, a stream of light, like a dragon or a snake, connected with the divine lines of the avenue, revealed an infinite and mysterious silver-white brilliance, and slowly flew out from it. You are crazy. Without this innate immortal spiritual light, Haoshan mirror will no longer be an innate spiritual treasure, Ao Tian said. Su Junming looked firm, and the power of heaven and earth transformed into an invisible giant hand, grabbing the innate immortal aura and giving it a fierce blow. In an instant, the divine pattern shattered. The meaning of the sealed way dissipated instantly, leaving only the pure innate immortal aura. He curled his fingers into a sword and waved it in the air. The innate immortal aura was cut into three equal parts. Under the influence of the magic formula, The three portions of the immortal aura fell into the Sankei divine gate respectively. Su Junming's heart moved, and two avatars appeared beside him. 6 pairs of palms flew, and seals flew into the 3 divine gates. Visible to the naked eye, the auras of the 3 of them increased rapidly. After everything stabilized, the aura of Sankei Shenmen became dozens of times stronger than before. He let out a long breath, stretched out his hand, and the Sankei divine gate flew into his palm. After a moment of realization, he nodded with satisfaction. When he advanced to the Chongshan world, he destroyed half of the innate spiritual treasure Kuai Shui spirit ring he obtained from the Liuzai world, and trained the Sankei Shenmen into an innate spiritual treasure. It's a pity that half of the innate spiritual treasure contains innate immortal aura, and 1 share is for 3 empresses, so it can only imprint 2 innate divine prohibitions. Therefore, Sankei Shenmen can also be called the weakest innate spiritual treasure. Later, the Haoshan mirror was obtained from Emperor Xuanyuan's mausoleum in Shushan Mountain. It was a low-grade innate spiritual treasure that contained the sealing path, and contained 12 innate divine prohibitions. After getting it, Su Junming hung it on the Kesadagarba gate for use. In the beginning, this was no problem. But as Su Junming's cultivation level got higher and higher, Sankei Shenmen became increasingly unable to meet his needs. That's why he made up his mind not to hesitate to destroy the Haoshan mirror, but also to advance the 3 talents divine sect. Now with the help of the powerful divine power of heaven and earth in Chongshan world, this difficult character has finally been completed. Each of the 3 divine gates has 6 innate divine prohibitions, corresponding to the 3 realms of space, seal, and soul. For Su Junming, who has just become a true immortal, it is enough for him to use for a long time. He put away the Sankei divine gate, waved his hand, and the Haoshan mirror flew into his palm. Without the innate immortal aura, this is just an empty shell. However, the empty shell is also the empty shell of the innate spiritual treasure, and its material is unparalleled. As long as you practice well, you can get a top-notch immortal weapon. After putting it in the bag, he turned around and met Ao Tian's eyes. No matter how much treasure you have, it's still a waste if you don't use it. Then you are still searching everywhere in the Shushan world. I just want what I want. Tough talk. Yi Yang held 2 spheres in his hand and said, with the qualifications of these 2 guys, there is a high chance that they can pass the Earth level test of the human soul divine section. If so, do we still want to admit them? Certainly. Su Junming understood his concerns. Don't worry, I have erased all their memories of their past lives. You are really cruel. Su Junming glanced at him calmly, and with a wave of his hand, a bright yellow 7-story pagoda and the Haoshan mirror with only its outer shell flew towards Ao Tian. In the future, you will accept them as your disciples and teach them the way of the earthly emperor and the way of the heavenly emperor. This Xianhuang pagoda and the Haoshan mirror will be their destiny treasures. You want me to accept them as my disciples? Ao Tian said in surprise. What, you don't want to? That's not true. I'm tired of dealing with these prisoners every day. It's good to have 2 apprentices to share some of the work, but the future of the earthly Emperor Dao and the heavenly Emperor Dao is the heavenly Dao, and the training is more difficult than the martial arts. I am the world, which is the most reasonable summary of the Taoism practiced by Ao Tian. The stronger the world becomes, the stronger he becomes. However, there are so many resources needed for the growth of a world that it may not be possible to cross borders in thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years. The Great Dao is 50, Tianyan is 49. As long as you can persevere, you will one day become enlightened. The way of governing, the way of heaven is mine, the heaven and the earth are immortal and I am immortal. The longevity of monks who practice this way is naturally far longer than that of ordinary monks. As long as it can be sustained, externally, it can mobilize the power of the world to refine the acquired chaotic energy, internally, it can regulate the yin and yang, the 5 elements, the 24 qi, and cultivate talents. When the inside and outside are combined, there is hope for enlightenment. Of course, this is just a hope. If you want to finally become enlightened, you still need to survive hundreds of thousands of years or even longer of loneliness. Loneliness is the most frustrating thing. Too many people can't stand it, covet the speed, follow the devil's path, and ultimately destroy themselves. Haha, persevere. I hope these two can live up to your expectations by then, Ao Tien said with a smile. Wrong, they are your disciples. If they want to let them down, they will also let you down. That's right, but I am good at the three emperors' way. These two people inherit the heavenly emperor's way and the earth's emperor's way. Who will pass on the human emperor's way? I don't have a suitable candidate, so I'll leave it empty for now. Ao Tien nodded. If nothing happens, I'll go back first. Etc. Ao Tien spread his right hand. A flash of spiritual light flew out. This is a dark blue water ball, which seems to be only the size of the mouth of a bowl, but it seems to contain a vast ocean. With a slight sway, there will be rough waves and tumbling water. Feeling the extremely rich innate Taishi water element Qi and the core of the innate Tai water element Qi, Su Junming's face showed joy. Is this halal water? The pure water is the innate pure water that has been condensed to the extreme, capable of refining the best sunflower water fairy. It took me hundreds of years of work, these should be enough. Haha, that's enough. Su Junming stretched out his hand and put the pure water into his bag. What about the others? Ao Tien rolled his eyes. No, that's all. Su Junming knew how difficult it was to condense top-level spiritual materials, so having this piece of pure water would save him a lot of hard work. I will send you more immortals in the future. Ao Tien's eyes lit up. As long as there are enough workers, it won't be a problem to clean up the water and control the water. After Su Junming smiled slightly, his body dissipated, and his consciousness returned to base Huchongshan residence, the World Palace in Shushan, and turned to enter Tiangong Hall. Looking at the blazing Tiangong divine furnace in front of him, he stretched out his hand and a lotus furnace slowly opened. Immediately afterwards, the main pillar of the golden court obtained from Xiun Palace, the sea-suppressing treasure Wujin Pagoda obtained from Panluo Immortal Mansion, 2 treasures of merit, and the Pantuo divine spear flew in. At the back are the golden steel on the first floor of Panluo Immortal Mansion, the 5-legged golden tripod carrying Panluo's 7 treasures and the soul, and the abundant Tebe Suanjin essence inside, together with the 10,000-year fire coral obtained from Xiun Palace, when refining the Xianhuang Pagoda, leaving behind a black and yellow sacred stone. This time, the pure water obtained from Ao Tien, together with his 4-elephant sword formation, flew into another lotus furnace. Look at the 2 lotus furnaces sinking and floating in the flames. With Dao's treasure of suppressing the sea, the golden courtyard jade pillar and the Wujin Pagoda, the Pantuo divine spear has established its qualifications as a top-notch spiritual weapon, and it is also a meritorious immortal weapon. For the 4-elephant sword formation, we have gathered the materials for the 4 divine swords, and only the formation diagram is left. Shaohao spiritual wind. All we need is a top-notch Shaohao spiritual wind. Su Junming felt excited. He has many treasures in his hands, but only a few are really commonly used. The divine furnace of heaven refines treasures, the spiritual pool of creation cultivates spiritual roots, the divine ball of heaven has a single function, and the fairy hoe of Jishi digs spiritual roots. The only things that can be used against the enemy are the Sankei divine gate, the 4 elephants sword formation, the Pantuo divine spear and the heavenly thunder drum. The heavenly thunder drum has been trained by him continuously and is only a middle-grade immortal weapon. Although Sankei Shenmen is an innate spiritual treasure, it only has 6 innate divine prohibitions, which are better than mid-grade immortal weapons, but not as good as those top high-grade immortal weapons. Therefore, Su Junming lacks that kind of top-notch killing weapon. The 4 elephant sword formation and Pantuo divine spear are the only 2 options. The former sets up a sword formation, which can defeat thousands of enemies in one attack. Only with a gun in hand and his rapidly improving physical body can he truly dominate the Shushan world. If he can reach the peak of a middle-grade military commander, and with the Pantuo Divine Spear at the top-grade immortal weapon level, ordinary golden immortals can also compete with him. After leaving an incarnation to guard the Tiangong Divine Furnace, Su Junming put away the palace treasure tree. When we came outside, it was still the cold and windy North Sea. After he sent Guyu away, he stayed in the ice cave where she originally sealed herself. Now that we've taken care of the trivial matters, it's time to leave. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 615. Boom. The aftermath of the explosion came from afar. Su Junming raised his eyebrows slightly, feeling the vibrating spiritual energy in the air. Is there a fight? Listening to the sound getting closer and closer, Su Junming instantly understood that it seemed to be coming towards him. Sure enough, it took less than a quarter of an hour. The two escaping lights came one after another, and the stars flew like lightning, heading straight for this place. Junior brother, if you continue to be stubborn, don't blame me for being rude. Angry voices came from afar. Haha, my good senior brother, if I didn't want to provoke that old monster, do you think I would be afraid of you? Wearing a black robe, the middle-aged monk looked eagle-eyed, with his hands above his knees. His demeanor was unrestrained, but his escape was getting faster and faster. Seeing the green-robed man standing on top of a cloud in front of him, blocking his way, he was so focused on escaping that he didn't have time to take a second look. Where did this unlucky guy come from? Why don't you get out of the way for Master Dao? After saying that, he waved his hand, and the raging cold current rushed up overwhelmingly. The cold air is biting and violent. In the impression, the young Taoist priest who should be afraid of the cold air and avoid it, not only stood firmly in place, but also his cold air seemed to be swallowed by something inexplicable, and did not reach the opponent at all. The middle-aged monk's heart trembled, and he instantly understood that he had met an expert. As soon as the escape light turned around, he was ready to go around. You hit me, and are you going to leave like this? Before he finished speaking, the middle-aged man suddenly felt his whole body tense up, and the surging mana in his dantian seemed to be frozen and could no longer be lifted up. Then he felt his body being lifted up by an inexplicable force and slowly flew towards the Taoist King Bao. When he saw his face clearly, the middle-aged man's liver and gallbladder were split instantly, and his face was full of horror. It seems you know me. The escaping light from behind also came closer at this time. Wearing a Bagua Taoist robe and a Taoist bun, the tall middle-aged man was shocked when he saw Su Junming, with a look of respect on his face. Ling Wai Su, a disciple of Xian Kong Island, has met the senior true Lord Chongshan. You know me. Senior preached in Chang'an. My disciple Zen was my mentor, Patriarch Zhen Kong, and I went to listen to it many times. Su Junming suddenly realized. Looking at the middle-aged Taoist priest he caught, he should be the long-armed demon Zhen Yuwengi. In the book Shu Mountain, Zhen Yuwengi stole the 10,000 years intermittent bone-restraining and muscle-regenerating spirit jade ointment of the ancestor of Xian Kong, defected from Xian Kong Island, threw himself into Baiman Mountain's Kishan Cave, under the disciples of the 5 poison heavenly kings Libiduo, and finally died in Imei. In the hands of Kadong, it can be described as a tragedy. Noticing his look, Ling Waisu said quickly, Senior, this is my junior brother Zhen Yuwengi. He stole the elixir and escaped from Xian Kong Island while my master was in seclusion. I chased him here. After Su Junming nodded, he threw it casually, and Ling Waisu hurriedly mobilized his magic power to catch it. Since it is your family matter on Xian Kong Island, it is inconvenient for Pandeo to interfere. I will leave it to you to handle it yourself. Thank you, senior. Seeing Su Junming nod and prepare to leave, Ling Weisu quickly said, Senior. Is something wrong? My master has made great progress in his Taoism and doubled his cultivation after listening to the sermons of his predecessors. He has always been grateful for his teachings and has great respect for his predecessors. He always thinks about how he can repay him. Fortunately, today I met my senior in Bihai, and he was so far away from me. The island is just around the corner. I also hope that senior can come to my empty island. My master and disciple will sweep the bed to welcome you to express my gratitude to senior for his deep kindness. After all, bow to the end. Su Junming looked calm. Didn't you just say that your master is in retreat? Master is in seclusion, but if he knew that the senior was coming, he would immediately come out to greet him. Glanced at him. Thank you for your kindness, master and disciple. I have important matters to attend to, so I won't go. As soon as he finished speaking, he took a step forward and disappeared in an instant. Senior. Before he could speak, the person had disappeared. Ling Weisu's face was filled with regret. He shook his head, grabbed his junior brother Zhen Yuengyi, and flew towards Xingkong Island. About half an hour later, the water below suddenly turned dark. There was a palpitating feeling of deathly silence. Ling Weisu, who has lived on Xiangong Island for many years, has long been accustomed to the 3,000 week waters surrounding Xiangong Island. After flying over, tall and rolling icebergs hundreds of miles wide came into view. Arriving in front of the iceberg, Ling Weisu made a seal, and a portal appeared in the once empty mid-air. After flying in, he crossed the Bailey Glacier, and in an instant, he was greeted by the sight of red flowers and green willows. If you are not careful, you will think you have arrived at the vibrant Jiangnan water town. Against the background of the surrounding glaciers, the valley becomes even more beautiful, which is the famous Xingkong Island in the North Sea in the spiritual world. There are several high mountains rising in the center of the island, and several magnificent palaces are located on the mountains. After Ling Weisu flew over, 2 spiritual lights flew from the hall. When they got closer, they saw 2 little Taoist boys in Taoist robes, about 6 or 7 years old, who looked like golden boys in the sky. Big brother. Ling Weisu nodded. Although these 2 juniors started late, they were transformed into ice elves and had excellent qualifications, so they were highly valued by their master, ancestor Xian Kong. Has master come out of seclusion? Out of seclusion. Seeing the surprise on his face, the shorter Taoist boy on the left quickly said, shortly after the senior brother left after the second senior brother, the master came out of seclusion. Now let us come out and instruct the senior brother to take the second senior brother to Shuanghua Palace for questioning. I know, I'll go right away. Grabbing Zhen Yuengyi, he flew towards the distant hall. Land on the grand steps in front of the main hall and step into the hall. The main hall, which is hundreds of acres in size, is held up high by 18 30-foot thick stone pillars. There are clouds and fog on both sides, golden light shines on the top of the head, and translucent jade is paved under the feet. It is like a fairy palace in the sky, extremely gorgeous. Ling Weisu followed the passage in the middle and came to the innermost place, where the tall Lord Dan, wearing a navy blue Taoist robe, with an angry face ancestor Xing Kong, sat cross-legged on the cloud bed. Disciple Ling Weisu pays homage to his mentor. Get up. Turning his eyes, he saw Zhen Yuengyi next to him and shouted angrily. You evildoer! Shaking his hands, a flash of light flew towards Zhen Yuengyi. But after entering his body, it lost its movement. Huh! He shot out another spiritual light, but after there was still no movement, he frowned. Did you catch this evil obstacle? Ling Weisu shook his head quickly. Just now, he thought that the master used Taoism twice in a row. What kind of magical power did he use? Did the emotion not break the seal on his junior brother? If he had known, he would have spoken. Returning to master, not long after my disciple chased his junior brother, he encountered the true monarch of Chongshan, Senior Su, on the southeastern sea. Only with the help of his elders did he restrain him. True Lord Chongshan Su Junming. Ancestor Siekong hurriedly interrupted him. Exactly. The disciple originally wanted to invite him to the island as a guest and build a relationship between the two parties, but he left without thinking that Senior Su had something to say. After hearing the previous words, he still felt that his eldest disciple was smart and sensible. Just as he was about to praise him a few words, he made a huge reversal for himself. Seeing the look on his master's face, Ling Weisui felt bitter in his heart. He also wanted to bring the person, but if they didn't come, what could he do? Ancestor Siekong also knew that he could not blame his disciple for this matter. You can see clearly that Su Zhenjun went in that direction. The true Lord was too fast, and the disciples couldn't see it clearly in time, but judging from the direction he came from, he should be heading north. North. After nodding secretly, you have worked hard chasing this evil obstacle. Go down and rest first. Yes. But master, junior brother. Ice, cold spirit. The two young men who greeted Ling Weisui hurriedly stepped forward. For the time being, put this evil obstacle into the ice prison and wait until I come back to deal with it. Disciple, obey. He stretched out his hand and took back the bag of magic from Zheng Yuwengi's waist, and then a ray of light flew out of Siekong Island and flew straight to the north. The Shushan world is not a round sky like the Liuzai world, but is similar to the Chinese world, a huge and incomparable planet. There are also an Antarctic and an Arctic pole. Both the North Pole and the Antarctic are covered with ice and snow all year round, with freezing winds and harsh environments. But something unexpected happened. Thousands of years ago, a sacred mountain fell from the spiritual world and landed in the Antarctic. Since then, there have been the Little Antarctic Light Realm, the Little Antarctic Sleepless City and other heavenly paradises. In comparison, the Arctic is still barren. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 616. Chapter 604, Geomagnetic True Core, the Power of the Earth. Su Junming came to the top of the North Pole, and as soon as he got close to the axis of the Earth, he instantly noticed the extremely rich magnetic energy of the Earth. Reach out and grab it, and instantly infinite airflow gathers in your palm. When he opened it, a dark blue cloud came into view. This navy blue cloud is the purpose of Su Junming's trip. The power of polar magnetism. Everything in heaven and earth has yin and yang, and the same is true for the Earth's magnetism. The North Pole magnetism is yin, and the South Pole magnetism is yang. The purity is still not enough. After savoring it for a moment, he shook his head and was about to go deep into the center of the earth. With the thought in his heart, he looked towards the south. As soon as the light escapes, the wind and lightning come. Su Zhenjun stayed here, this junior is in the air, and I came here to pay my respects. Ancestor Zhang Kong. What is he here for? Thinking of the previous encounter with Ling Weisui, Su Junming gradually began to make assumptions. The ancestor of Siekong, wearing a black and white Taoist robe and a high crown, appeared in front of him. Looking at the young Taoist priest not far away who was wearing a green robe, he had seen the ancestor Siekong several times when he was listening to sermons at the long table, and he quickly bowed. Siekong pays homage to Mr. Su Zhen. At the same time, he secretly thought in his mind. This real person's aura seems to be more obscure than what I saw before. After all, he is also a person who has reached the peak of Yuan Shen in cultivation and is only short of surviving a tribulation to become an earth immortal. Yet he is not even aware of the other person's existence even though he is 3 feet away. Get up, how did you know I'm here? The junior disciple Ling Weisui said that the senior was going to the north. After the junior learned the news, he searched all the way and found the senior here. He nodded understandingly. "What do you want from me?" Ancestor Sean Kong hesitated for a moment, and finally decided that it was better to speak out. "Senior, please take a look." Ancestor Sean Kong opened his palm, and a blue-black, irregular-shaped stone, about the size of a wash basin, slowly flew out. "You are smart," Su Junming said calmly. "Thank you, Senior. This irregular black stone is the fairy-level spiritual material that contains the power of the North Pole's magnetism, the Shaojia spiritual stone." Obviously, Ancestor Sean Kong guessed his purpose of coming to the North Pole, so he took out this spiritual material in a targeted manner. "Tell me, what do you want me to do for you?" Ancestor Sean Kong looked happy and said respectfully, "This junior knows that my senior's ability to refine weapons is unparalleled in the world, so I am bold and ask senior to help me refine this treasure into a Zifu immortal weapon." As he spoke, a 9-inch long, oval, golden red object that looked like a rhino horn emerged from the palm of the Ancestor Sean Kong. In an instant, a burst of hot pure yang energy dispelled the severe cold of the Arctic. "This is the horn of the Asahi rhinoceros." Su Junming was also a little unsure. This was the first time he had seen this thing. "Senior has good eyesight, it's just one of the horns of Asahi Tongtian rhinoceros. The rhinoceros is an ancient mythical beast, looking at the moon is yin and facing the sun is yang. The horn on the top of the head gathers pure yin and pure yang energy, which is the best fairy material for refining pure yin and pure yang treasures. You want me to help you practice the pure yang treasure?" Senior's Dharma vision is correct, that's right. Reaching out his hand, Ancestor Sean Kong obediently let Su Junming take the rhinoceros horn. After examining it for a moment, his brows furrowed. "How come this rhinoceros horn has lost so much yang energy?" Ancestor Sean Kong smiled bitterly and said, "When I first found this rhinoceros horn, its yang energy was only half of what it is now. I have worked hard to cultivate it for 300 years before it became what it is now." After nodding his head clearly, "Do you want to use it when you want to overcome the tribulation?" This junior has been stuck at the peak of Yuan Shen for nearly 200 years, and his merits have been perfected. It is only because he is afraid of the inner demons that he will be sad, so he has not been able to overcome the heavenly tribulation. The calamity of inner demons is the most feared calamity among the heavenly calamities. If one fails, one will go crazy and become possessed, and thousands of years of cultivation will turn into running water. Therefore, many monks will refine the pure yang treasure and place it on their chests before transcending the tribulation. Although it cannot completely eliminate the inner demons, it will at least have a restraining effect and increase the chance of successfully transcending the tribulation by 30%. Looking at the sky-reaching rhinoceros horn in his hand, it is not difficult to refine two immortal forbidden weapons with his method, but if it were someone else, let alone an immortal weapon, it would be good to be able to refine it into a top spiritual treasure. But the restrained effect of top spiritual treasures on inner demons is definitely not as strong as that of immortal weapons. It's no wonder that Ancestor Sean Kong has never refined it into a magic weapon. Seeing his expectant look, Su Junming nodded slightly. "I agree to this transaction." Ancestor Sean Kong was instantly overjoyed. 2 years ago, Master Tianqi had a martial arts battle with Uwa, the fairy of Lenjiun in Ximing Island, Xiao Penglai. Uwa attained enlightenment in the late Southern Song dynasty, and her cultivation had reached the middle stage of the immortal stage, and her strength was remarkable. As a result, Master Tianqi relied on his newly obtained Zifu immortal artifact Tai magnetic optical disc to defeat him. If it weren't for the interference of the young man from Tiangan Mountain, he would have almost beaten the latter to physical and mental destruction. After this battle, Master Tianqi became famous, and the newly released Zifu immortal artifact Tai magnetic optical disc attracted a lot of attention. Many people who were close to him were curious and inquired, and then they realized that this treasure was made by Su Junming, the great master of the righteous path in the spiritual world. Coincidentally, the ancestor of Zhang Kong was also on good terms with Taoist, and came to ask for advice in person with gifts. After asking about the whole story, he prepared things and planned to go to Chang'an in person to ask for Su Junming's refining treasure. However, before they set out here, there was news that Zhen Yuengyi had stolen the treasure, and then Su Junming was missing in Bihai, so he hurried over regardless of everything. "Senior, please keep this Shaojia spiritual stone." He held it respectfully in front of Su Junming with both hands. After waving his sleeves and putting them away, "I have something else to do. This treasure made from rhinoceros horns will be given to you within 3 years. You can go back." With the current prestige of true Lord Chongshan, Patriarch Zhengkong certainly doesn't worry that he won't get his treasure. "Senior, do you want to collect the magnetic energy of the North Pole?" Thinking that there was nothing to hide in this matter, he nodded happily. "Junior has nothing to do. If Senior doesn't mind it, I'm willing to help him collect it." After taking a look at him, if ancestor Zhang Kong had the cultivation of an earth immortal, he wouldn't mind having an extra tool to help him. But now he is only at the peak of his soul, and carrying him around is a burden. "Thank you for your kindness, no need." After finishing his words, Su Junming, who didn't want to be verbose anymore, fell and disappeared in the ice in an instant. Looking at the direction in which his back disappeared, ancestor Xiankong sighed, shook his head, turned around and flew towards Xiankong Island. He also knew that his cultivation level was too low, and following Su Junming was nothing more than a burden. But in order to bring the relationship closer between the two parties, there are still words to be said on the scene. Not to mention the ancestor of Xiankong, after Su Junming passed through the thousands of feet of ice, he reached the huge deep sea. Only monks above the Yuan Shen realm can withstand the freezing cold sea water. After crossing the 10,000-foot deep sea, there is a bottom shell of more than 10,000 feet. After penetrating the bottom shell, there is rolling magma. The further down, the higher the temperature and the greater the pressure. Once here, only immortals can withstand the tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of degrees of heat. By the time Su Junming reached 3 million miles deep, the temperature had reached an alarming level. Moreover, there was huge pressure from the surroundings. If he hadn't been physically strong, he would have been crushed into a meat pie. When he goes 8 million miles deep, with Su Junming's cultivation, he will also need to use immortal weapons. It would be too exhausting to resist with the physical body alone. When we were 9 million miles deep, an astonishing scene appeared in front of us. A giant ball with a diameter of millions of miles and composed entirely of navy blue energy appeared in front of him. This navy blue essence is the extremely rich earth energy essence. Through the bronze mirror, you can see that at the core of the giant blue ball, there is a slightly oblong, uneven ball that is slowly rotating. It looks like substance, but there are many veins looming in the air layer, as dense as a spider web, and there are countless stars that flicker and flicker, as small as dust, which cannot be detected by the naked eye. Su Junming felt the extremely rich Yuan Mei Qi and Mother Earth Qi in it. This is something that exists in any world. Geomagnetic eukaryotes. It seems to be only 100 miles away, but it is actually as heavy as an ancient giant mountain. There is a ray of light at each of the south and north ends of the geomagnetic eukaryotic plane, flying around in circles. The light is not strong, as if two strands of light, one green and one white, merge into one after contacting each other, but the colors do not mix. Then it gathers from the center and shoots out a piece of strange light to both sides, with different shapes and changes. After marveling at the beauty and magnificence of natural creations, Su Junming used the Sankei divine gate to protect his whole body, and took out the Shaojia Lingxi that had been given to him by ancestor Zhongkong. I have to say, this old man is indeed a genius. When I saw him coming to the North Pole, I guessed that he wanted to collect the true magnetism of the North Pole, so I gave him this treasure as a gift. It's a pity that Master Tianka's Tai magneto-optical disc was made with Antarctic magnetism, otherwise why bother? Shaking his head, he waved his hand and threw the Shaijia Lingxi into the Kongshanji Tiangong divine furnace. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 617. Chapter 605, Two Elders of the Great Wilderness, Shaking the Light Immortal Bamboo. Seeing the figure of Su Junming, the true lord of Chongshan, disappear from his eyes, Ancestor Xiankong hesitated for a moment and was about to leave. Suddenly there was a sound of breaking wind in my ears, and I subconsciously looked towards the south, and a ray of light with astonishing speed came into view. When I first saw him, he was still far away, but he was in front of me almost in the blink of an eye. The light dissipated, and a short old man appeared in his eyes, wearing a green Taoist robe embroidered with bamboo leaves, carrying a bamboo staff, and wearing a bamboo leaf crown on his head. Seeing the other party, Ancestor Xiankong showed a look of surprise on his face. It has been a long time since he saw Old Man Kuzu, one of the two elders of the Great Wilderness, traveling in person. He quickly stepped forward to salute. "I'm in the air to pay my respects to Senior Kuzu." After nodding slightly, "Why are you here?" After a slight hesitation, Ancestor Xiankong didn't hide anything. "This junior is here with True Lord Chongshan." "True Lord Chongshan? You said True Lord Chongshan Su Junming is here." Kuzu's eyes lit up and he interrupted instantly. Seeing his excited expression, Ancestor Xiankong was a little confused, but he still nodded. "Tell me, where is he?" In his excitement, Old Man Kuzu couldn't suppress his aura, and the aura of the Earth Immortal Peak dissipated. Ancestor Xiankong instantly felt as if a huge mountain was pressing down on him. "Point down. Su Zhenjun should collect the North Pole true magnet down there." Before he finished speaking, the figure of the Old Man Kuzu disappeared instantly. Seeing the rapidly downward escaping light, Ancestor Xiankong took a deep breath. The pressure that Old Man Kuzu put on him just now was too much. At the same time, it also made him feel a little angry. The feeling of being crushed was really terrible. "Earth Immortal, I have to break through as soon as possible." He has been stagnant in the realm of Yuanshen for many years, and now that the catastrophe of the immortals is approaching, he no longer wants to wait any longer. Regardless of what Ancestor Xiankong was thinking, Old Man Kuzu was excited when he came under the ice. He used a secret method to track Longxian Donjiang's aura all the way to Bihai, but he had gained nothing in the past 3 days. Now I suddenly heard that Chongshan True Lord Su Junming was here, and I instantly understood that my junior sister was probably captured by him. As a senior brother, he knows his junior sister best. He is headstrong, withdrawn, narrow-minded, and has been sitting in seclusion for many years. He has no idea how powerful the Chongshan lineage is in the current spiritual world. He was 80% certain that his junior sister must have received a message asking for help from her adopted daughter Dong Yang, so she came from the Wang Mountain, but was captured by Su Junming after being unable to fight with him. After passing through the ice and the deep North Sea, Su Junming was not found. Old Man Kuzu understood that the other party must have gone deeper. It's a pity that he majored in Yumu Taoism and didn't know how to escape, and he didn't have a very good Earth escape treasure in his hand. If I had known this, I should have borrowed Yi Zhou's 9 Heavens and 10 Earths Demon God shuttle when I passed by the Black Turtle Palace. Shaking his head, he waved his left hand, and 6 crisp bamboo leaves spun rapidly. The hard bottom shell instantly turned into mud soup, and Old Man Kuzu flew down. With his cultivation at the peak of Earth Immortal, even if he didn't know how to escape, it wouldn't be too difficult to get through the bottom. However, the bottom crust of the Shushan world is more than 3 to 4 million miles thick, and the rock becomes harder the further down you go. In addition, he was not sure where Su Junming was, so he could only search around the North Pole magnetic axis with a diameter of more than thousands of miles, which inadvertently wasted a lot of time. Moreover, you have to rest in between to recover your mana. In this environment full of earth element aura and fire aura, restoring Yumu's mana is really not an easy task. With Kazu's cultivation level, maybe half a month would be enough. So by the time he got through the bottom of the shell, 3 months had passed since he met the ancestor of Seeing Kong. Under the thick bottom crust is boiling magma. Kazu, who majored in Yumu Taoism, disliked earth fire the most. For the sake of junior sister, I had to bite the bullet and continue downward. The mountains of pressure around him kept coming, and the extremely hot poisonous flames made people even more anxious. Suddenly, a burst of thunder came from below, very far away. The magma is boiling and the turmoil continues. Old man Kazu suddenly became excited. The depths of the bottom shell are filled with too much poisonous flames, and there is absolutely no possibility of thunder. If there is, it must be man-made. And the person in the magnetic depths of the North Pole is most likely the true monarch of Chongshan he is looking for. Only he has the ability to penetrate that far into the bottom. He won't go directly to the geomagnetic core, right? Kuzu was amazed in his heart. He shook his head and ran towards the place where the thunder came. In the Earth's fire magma, there is no need to break the rocks as before. But the increasingly heavy pressure was still consuming his mana fiercely. Especially after seeing the huge navy blue geomagnetic core, the pressure around him was already frightening. Even with old man Kuzu's peak Earth immortal cultivation level, it still feels a bit difficult. However, he finally saw the person he was looking for. Su Junming stretched out his hand and a green ball flew into his palm. This is the immortal weapon he used to practice with the Shaojia Spirit Stone of the ancestor Zhen Kong. Shaojia Yuan Magnetic Divine Ball. It contains 3 immortal prohibitions. It is an immortal weapon that he cultivated after understanding the true core of geomagnetism. Contains rich Arctic true magnetic essence. Seeing the cyan light flying from above, Su Junming was a little surprised. Why is he here? But the moment he saw old man Kuzu, he understood that he was probably here for Lu Nu. But he didn't know how the other party found him. The 2 elders of Dawang have been famous for many years, but they have some different methods after all. Fellow Taoist gave me a hard time looking for him. Old man Kuzu flew over and was filled with grievances when he saw Su Junming. Going from the North Pole all the way through the bottom crust and the endless fire to get here is simply not something that humans can do. It consumed too much of his mana and energy. Especially now, it feels like an ancient giant mountain is pressing down on you, the heat around you is almost refining you. The mana in the body is being consumed intensely every moment. However, seeing Su Junming's calm and relaxed look, old man Kuzu was in awe. He glanced enviously at the 3 divine gates above his head, which were filled with powerful aura and breathtaking aura. Forced by the circumstances, old man Kuzu, who didn't want to waste time, just stated his purpose. Fellow Daoist Su, I wonder if my junior sister was captured by fellow Daoist. Su Junming didn't hide it either. Pandeo never does anything to bully the weak, but he made his junior sister speak rudely and hit Pandeo with death. No matter how good-tempered Pandeo is, he will never remain indifferent. Who is right and who is wrong is of no use at this time. Old man Kuzu knew very well that his most important thing now was to rescue his junior sister Lu Nu. As for the method, it would definitely not work if he tried hard. Although his cultivation was high, he was not sure he could beat Tianmeng. Chongshan True Lord Su Junming can defeat even Tianmeng Beimei together, so defeating him is a high probability. And seeing that he still looked calm deep in the earth, surrounded by infinite fire, he knew that the other party was better than him in terms of magic weapon and cultivation. After hesitating for a moment, old man Kuzu sighed secretly. Pat the bag on your waist. An emerald jade box appeared in his hand. I have heard that Su Zhenjun likes to collect spiritual roots, and I happen to have one here. I would like to give it to Zhenjun as an apology. I also hope that Zhenjun will take care of his face and let my junior sister live. Su Junming's eyes flashed. Everyone is understanding, and he is not polite. With a thought in his heart, the celestial elephant gate above his head burst into azure divine light, blocking out the extremely hot underground fire around him. He stretched out his hand and the jade box flew into his palm. After taking off the talisman on it, in an instant, an extremely rich jade aura bulged out from the gap. Su Junming's heart moved and he quickly opened it. A section of green bamboo root inside comes into view. Although it is just a root, it is full of vitality inside. It only needs the right water and soil to make it come alive again. It is indeed it. Su Junming was secretly happy. Having read Lu Nu's memories, he knew that old man Kuzu, De Ming Master Han Xiao, and the 3 senior fellow apprentices were studying in the same discipline. Old man Kuzu has the greatest talent and the greatest opportunities. The first time I walked down the mountain, I got a top-notch immortal root on an island deep in the East China Sea. Taishi shook the light of the immortal bamboo. A top-notch fairy root that can be compared to Su Junming's Kaibao gourd vine, Bodhi golden lotus, colorful splendid pine, and red sun Jinxian tea. An existence that can refine the best immortal weapons. After the old man Kuzu got this spiritual bamboo, he made the spiritual bamboo the treasure of his life and practiced the Yuma way. As expected, he made rapid progress. He became famous in the spiritual world as the 6 monsters of the universe and the 2 elders of the great wilderness. Seeing Su Junming's expression, old man Kuzu breathed a sigh of relief. Although he has more than one spiritual root of the Taishi shaking light immortal bamboo in his hand. But I only had this one with me. Moreover, even if someone else is around, he will still give him the Taishi shaking light immortal bamboo. After all, mature fairy roots are worth a lot of money, and it would feel bad to give them away. But this Taishi shaking light immortal bamboo only has its rhizome left. If we cultivate a new one, we don't know how many years it will take. Only people like Su Junming, who likes to collect and cultivate immortal roots, would regard them as precious stones. Looking at it now, he really got it right. Put away the spiritual roots with your backhand. Fortunately, I didn't take Madame Lu to Chongshan World, otherwise it would be trouble again. After thinking about it, he reached out and patted the gourd at his waist. An old woman holding a dragon-headed crutch slowly flew out. It was Lu Nu's body. Junior sister. Old man Kuzu quickly activated his magic power to isolate the surrounding fire and took Lu Nu over. No, where is the soul? As soon as he met his junior sister, old man Kuzu immediately noticed something unusual. With a thought in his heart, he looked up and saw a light black jade ball, the size of an adult's fist, flying towards him from Su Junming's palm. He grabbed it subconsciously and instantly understood that the soul of junior sister was inside. After Su Junming waved his hand to remove the seal on it, Kuzu clapped it down with the palm, driving Lu Nu's spirit into his body. Afraid that he, a narrow-minded junior sister, would say something too outrageous and anger Su Junming, after saying thank you, old man Kuzu supported Lu Nu and flew straight upward. The speed was so fast that he disappeared in front of Su Junming in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, he shook his head slightly. It's quite unfortunate to have such a careless junior sister. He stretched out his hand and pointed. The navy blue Shaojia magnetic divine ball in front of him flew towards the geomagnetic core like lightning, and stopped when it was thousands of feet away. Su Junming did not move forward, otherwise the thing would escape his control and be directly sucked away by the geomagnetic core. The finger gestures changed, and the divine ball shone brightly. The Shaojia magnetic divine ball, which was originally only the size of an adult's fist, instantly became 100 feet in size. Countless complex spiritual patterns are derived, and the powerful swallowing power spreads out, absorbing the rich Arctic true magnetic energy emitted by the geomagnetic true core. Su Junming sat cross-legged and activated his magic power to lock the divine ball. Take a deep breath and remove the 3 talents gate above your head. In an instant, scorching heat, heavy pressure, and the exploding true magnetic field of the North Pole all rushed towards me. Visible to the naked eye, Su Junming's body turned red, then festered, and even exposed his bones. However, there was no pain on his face, instead an excited smile appeared on his face. It's just that the white mandible is exposed, which makes the smile look a little penetrating. It's so powerful. No wonder Zhong'er chose to refine his body in the earth's fire. He stretched out his hand and swallowed the traces of the great witch essence and blood that had been prepared long ago. The explosive and rich essence quickly repaired his physical body. Destruction and rebirth. In the complicated struggle against the underground fire, the heavy pressure of the earth, and the magnetic field of the North Pole, Su Junming's physical body progressed rapidly. Contrary to expectations, Madame Lu did not make a fuss when she woke up. The strange situation made Kuzu feel a little uneasy. "Junior sister, are you okay?" Lu Nu turned her head and looked at the anxious withered bamboo with a complicated expression. "Why did you save me? You and I are from the same sect, and it is only natural to save you. What's more, before Master ascended, he told me to take good care of you, and I will certainly do it." Looking at the determined senior brother, Lu Nu's body trembled slightly. Regret, pain, gratitude, and all kinds of inexplicable emotions suddenly surged into her heart. Back then, she was also a stunning beauty with all kinds of charms. She had many admirers, but in the end she chose the charming and talented leader of Tianyin. He ignored his ugly senior brother who admired him. Later, Xian Zhuangchen, the leader of Tianyin, started to be chaotic and finally gave up, which deeply stimulated her and changed her temperament drastically. Kuzu was unhappy and went to Xian Zhuangchen to fight. She could have killed the opponent with her sword, but at the critical moment, Lu Nu took action and protected Xian Zhuangchen. The two had a big quarrel and stopped communicating. Later, Xian Zhuangchen was punished by heaven, and the gap between the two was reduced a lot. Kuzu deliberately moved his dojo to the barren mountains of Dongjia. The 6 monsters of the universe have become the 2 elders of the wilderness. The regrets of that year turned old man Kuzu into a butcher. He reincarnates his soul at every turn, just because he wants a beautiful physical body. Maybe it was because I was hurt too deeply back then. I always looked at the height of this mountain and always felt that it would be better in the future. So much so that over the past 1,000 years, he has accumulated more than 20 bodies. Even the poor god Linghun obtained his sealed body before he became enlightened. On Lu's side, as her cultivation level got higher and higher, she experienced more and more things, and she already regretted it in her heart. But with her arrogant temperament, she was unwilling to admit her mistake. After thinking about it, he took the extremely ugly Baidian into his sect, hoping that his senior brother would see his repentance and come to reconcile with him. Who knows that although old man Kuzu has a high talent for cultivation, he is very dull when it comes to the relationship between men and women and has never come to visit him. This made Lu Nu feel angry and helpless. He became even more unfavorable to Kuzu. The two have been in a stalemate until now. Kuzu saw the strange behavior of his junior sister, thinking that she was still worried about being captured by mistake, and her face was embarrassed. At the moment, he said quickly, "Su Junming, the true lord of Chongshan, once defeated Tianmeng and Beimei in Kangmang Mountain. His strength is amazing. Let alone you, even if we join forces, we may not be able to defeat him. Besides him, in the Chongshan lineage, there are 6 or 7 earth immortals, more than a dozen Yuan Shen monks, and nearly 1,000 disciples. You must not trouble him again." Lu Nu was still thinking about how to show her feelings, but looking at his babble, she seemed not to be aware of her thoughts at all. In my heart I was happy for his concern, but also angry for his bluntness. "Stomp your feet. You don't have to worry about my affairs." A ray of light shot into the sky. Old man Kuzu and monk Zhang Er were confused. He was fine just now, Why did his face suddenly change? Junior sister, wait for me. He quickly chased after him. He decided to keep an eye on Lu Nu during this period. Seeing that the 1,000-year catastrophe of immortals was approaching, Imei and Chongshan were increasingly competing for the upper hand. If he got involved at this time, the worst outcome would be death. Relatives at home came to see the children and played with them from afternoon to evening. So that's all for today. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 618. The land of Guanzhong has always been a densely populated, prosperous place. Especially in recent years, with more and more disciples coming from Chongshan Academy, there are fewer and fewer evil people, and the land of Sankan has become more and more clean and peaceful, and people can live and work in peace and contentment. The Wei River, which connects the 3 Qin dynasties, is one of the largest rivers in Guanzhong. Nowadays, boats are like clouds and their shadows are like the sea, and the traffic is prosperous. A slightly larger awning boat sailed upstream along the Wei River. Although the speed of the boat was not very fast, the strange thing was that no punters were seen on the boat. There were only 3 young people sitting in the cabin. There was a tall man in the middle, wearing a purple robe, with arms reaching to his knees, and a look of sincerity on his broad face. The one on the left is wearing a white robe, has a handsome appearance, stands out, and looks like a handsome man. The one on the right has a slightly thin body, but his thin face has a look of leanness. He carries a 9-ringed sword on his back that is very inconsistent with his figure. I didn't expect that the Weishui River would be so prosperous, the man in white sighed. What the second brother said is true. I think my 3 brothers have traveled all over the Central Plains and have seen hundreds of huge rivers. There are really few that can compare with this one, the man with the knife on his back agreed. The man in purple robe showed a hint of pride when he heard this. The land of Sankan is suppressed by our Chongshan Academy. There are evil spirits and monsters, and the young people are frightened by the news. The ugliness does not exist, and the natural folk customs are simple. Coupled with the guidance of the talented people of our academy, the land of Sankan will naturally become more prosperous, along with the power of the Weishui River. The world also prospered. The man in white and the young man carrying the sword nodded in agreement, with looks of yearning on their faces. Brother, do you know about the 2 of us becoming apprentices? When the man in white spoke, a look of hope appeared on the face of the young man carrying the knife. You 2 worthy brothers, don't worry. I have informed Master that as long as he has met your 2 worthy brothers and made an inspection to find out that they are not criminals, they will be accepted as my disciples. However, he is very strict in accepting disciples. If he is not a person of extraordinary talent, understanding, and perseverance, he will never be included in the door. 10 years ago, he preached to more than 100,000 listeners. As a result, he only accepted 1 person, Senior Sister Miao. It can be seen that it is harsh, so you 2 good brothers should be prepared. We will keep in mind what brother said. As direct disciples, we don't dare to hope too much. As long as we can enter the immortal sect and obtain the immortal tradition, that will be enough. The young man with the sword nodded in agreement. The man in purple robe smiled and sighed in his heart. In fact, he was just a registered disciple under the Chongshan section after his breakthrough in cultivation in the past few years. He also tried to pass the Earth level test of the human soul section. Unfortunately, the 365 layers of illusion were really powerful. No matter how hard he tries, he will always fail in the last few illusions. This is also his biggest regret. Suddenly, 3 lines of black smoke rushed up from the water like lightning, and before the 3 of them could react, they were instantly restrained. As the spiritual energy fluctuated, a short, fat old man wearing a dark red robe suddenly appeared in the cabin. Hey, don't waste your efforts. This black dragon lock of mine is made from the black evil thread accumulated for thousands of years underground. Let alone you juniors in the innate stage, even the golden core nascent soul can't escape. Who are you and why are you trying to embarrass us? The man in purple robe said solemnly. It's okay to tell you, I am the elder of Huashan sect, who is known as Fire Tai Sui Chi Lu. What nonsense are you talking to them about? Why don't you turn the boat around and leave quickly? If it's later, when those bastards from Chongshan Academy who were stabbed 1,000 times come to their senses, we won't be able to leave. While talking, a woman wearing a pink gauze dress, a water snake waist, an oval face, peach blossom eyes, and a charming face flew up from the water. Shi Chunyi, the lady of Xiang Cheng. The woman turned back and looked at the man in purple robe. Hey, I didn't expect the young master to know the new family. However, this young master is very handsome. Watery peach blossom eyes looked towards the man in white robe next to him. Huo Tai Sui Chi Lu had a look of jealousy on his face. Although he had known for a long time that his Taoist lover had been cuckolded countless times, he loved the way Shi Chunyi, the lady from Xiang Cheng, acted in bed, and although he blamed her, he still couldn't bear to kill her. However, she would not let go of any man who flirted with her. Madam, these two people know us. They must be lackeys of Chongshan Academy. I will kill them first. Etc. He quickly stopped his husband. It's rare to encounter such a handsome man, but you can't let him be killed. However, Chi Lu's temper made her have some excuses. You are crazy. Now the disciples of Chongshan Academy are looking for us everywhere. If you use your magic power, won't you expose our whereabouts? Huo Tai Sui Chi Lu had a clever idea in his heart. The anger gradually calmed down. The reason why they fled to this boat was that they hoped to use the cover of thousands of boats on the Wei River to escape from Guangzhou and escape from the pursuit of the disciples of Chongshan Academy. If he uses his magic power and is discovered by those Chongshan disciples who are flying in the air and looking for their whereabouts everywhere, he is afraid that he will end up like other disciples of the Huashan sect, dead and soulless. Humph, let them look good after we leave here. Leave? Everyone in the Huashan evil sect will be killed. You should stay. After the purple-robed man finished speaking, billowing mana poured out of his body. In an instant, surging flames spread out, spreading the black smoke. Chi Lu's expression suddenly changed. Aren't you innate? Haha, of course not. A green shadow of the divine gate flashed past, and the black smoke disappeared instantly. Choke. Accompanied by the loud sword cry, the powerful sword energy, the lightning cut off the black smoke and slashed straight towards Chi Lu and Shi Chunyi, the lady of Xiang Cheng. As Chi Lu waved his hand, the red sand rolled like a waterfall towards the sword energy. At the same time, a fishy smell spread out. Shi Chunyi held the sword technique with her hand, and a blue-green flying sword flew out from her sleeve, with sword energy blocking it in front of her. Bang, tisk. The fierce collision instantly tore the awning boat into pieces. On the left side of the purple-robed man, there is a silver-white magic sword suspended with a sharp sword aura. On the right side, there is a large flag that is surrounded by flames and is as red as fire. A cloud of flames held up the man in white robe and the young man carrying the sword. Two worthy brothers, please hold the battle for me. After I kill these two evil men, we will go to Chang'an City. The two of them nodded quickly. Their cultivation was only innate. They had neither weapons nor the ability to fly to the sky or escape from the earth. Even if they wanted to help at this time, they couldn't use their strength. Brother, you can do whatever you want. The young man with the sword nodded in agreement. Celestial Elephant Sect? Brat, are you from Chongshan Sect? Chi Lu said angrily. Chongshan Academy was established in Chang'an for nearly 20 years, suppressing all evil spirits within 30,000 miles around. Celestial phenomena, Ksatagarbha and human souls, these three treasures of Chongshan Academy, became more and more popular as the academy grew stronger. Especially as an enemy, Qi Lu is well aware of the power of these three divine gates. Exactly. The man in purple robe showed pride on his face. Ms. Sir, this guy is a disciple of the academy, but his cultivation is only in the middle stage of the golden core. You and I are both masters of the nascent soul realm. Let's work together to kill him first, and then we can escape, Shi Chunyi said in a message. What Chun Niang said is true, but seeing as the treasure in this boy's hands is extraordinary, you and I should be more careful. I know. You can control me. Good. 5 Poison Soul Chasing Sand. Jade Centipede Sword. Although the purple-robed man looked confident, he was unsure when facing 2 nascent soul realm masters. My strength is only in the middle stage of golden core, and my magic power is not as good as theirs. If it takes too long, Chongshan disciples will surely come to support me, and I can capture these 2 by then. No, after all I am also a disciple of Master. Although I am not as good as several direct brothers and sisters, if I can't even win 2 nascent soul realms, wouldn't it be a disgrace to my mentor? After all, I am also a second-generation disciple. The 2 thoughts of stability and radically kept fighting in his mind, and he saw the 2 men coming towards him again. He finally made up his mind. Spell. I also have the chi replenishing pill given by my mentor. Even if I consume most of my mana, I can replenish it in time. Thinking of this, the purple-robed man's heart moved, and billows of mana poured out. The silver-white flying sword on the left shines brightly, and the extremely powerful sword energy rises nearly 100 feet into the sky. The man in purple robe hunts with unparalleled aura. The hands are pointing like swords. Drink in your mouth. Tai's split light sword, kill. Laugh. Like a volcano erupting, the sharp sword energy flashed across the sky like 2 shocking rainbows. Boom. The collision was like a spark hitting the earth, instantly causing large splashes of water to explode on the river. You must know that this is the Weishui River, the most prosperous water channel in Sankan. There are so many ships coming and going, and many of these ships are owned by graduates of Chongshan Academy. Most of them have no talent for cultivation, but they have practiced martial arts for many years, and many of them have become innate. As soon as he looked at the fighting skills, he noticed the man in purple robe. Senior brother from the inner courtyard. So strong. Oh, it would have been nice if I could have entered the inner courtyard. Not all Chongshan disciples on the Wei River are foundation building or innate. There are also inner court disciples who are above Xiantian. On a building boat located in the center of the Weishui River, 2 women stood by the window, watching the fight in the distance. Senior sister, a middle-stage golden elixir wears a red gourd. Are there any such weak disciples under the master's sect? The girl in pink and moccasin boots said in surprise. Maybe it's just a registered disciple, said a young woman with a slim figure, a white veil covering her face, and a gentle temperament. The several named uncles are not so weak. He smiled and patted her little head. Master's affairs are beyond our control. However, his magic power is extremely pure and upright, which is the characteristic of the magic power of our Chongshan Academy's Chongshan Yuan Yang scripture. Furthermore, the Sankei divine sect is the treasure of the section. It can only be taught after worshipping the ancestor and entering. Since this person is protected by the divine sect, he must be our uncle. The girl in pink nodded. Senior sister, it seems that he only has a cultivation level of the middle stage of the golden core. The 2 demons from the Huashan sect opposite are both at the nascent soul stage. The short winter melon's cultivation level is even higher than the late stage of the nascent soul stage. He is definitely no match. Do we want to help? Of course. Patriarch Huashan Lihuo allowed his disciples to kill wantonly and commit all evil deeds. The third master's uncle has already issued a killing order. Whenever I, a disciple of Chongshan, see a Huashan disciple, they must capture him and send him to the Academic Affairs Office for punishment. Huo Tai Sui Chi Lu, Xiangqing's lady Shichani, sexually humiliated and killed hundreds of people in the three Qin lands. They have committed many evil deeds and must not be let go. The girl in pink nodded vigorously, with a look of excitement on her pretty face. Senior sister, let me do it this time. I promise to take down both of them. The woman in white looked at her junior sister and was about to nod when she saw a sudden golden light on the river in the distance. The two looked up subconsciously. Above the river, a huge golden palm hundreds of feet tall, like a meteorite falling from the sky, followed the sword light and pressed down. Devil conquering golden palm. No. Junior sister, hurry up. Two rays of light flew out of the cabin. The two raised their hands, and two green divine gate projections fell onto the river. The rich green light spread out, sealing off the surrounding space of thousands of feet in an instant. Boom! The mighty river water, under the pressure of the golden palm, was like a high-pressure fountain, flowing crazily in all directions, but was quickly blocked back by the space barrier. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 619. Chapter 607, Venerable Daphne, Kongshan Fang City. Li Ning, who was wearing a purple robe, took a deep breath and quickly took out a chi-building pill and drank it. His face looks much better now. He stretched out his hand, and as golden light flashed, a golden palm fell into his palm. When the master left, he left him three treasures. The natal spiritual treasures are the red cloud flame flag, the protective spiritual treasures golden palm for subduing demons and Tai light splitting sword. Among them, the golden palm for subduing demons is the highest grade and is only one step away from becoming an immortal weapon. It is also naturally the most powerful. He had just used up 80% of his mana, and activated his golden palm to explode. The power was comparable to the full blow of a perfect monk in the nascent soul realm. The results are also remarkable. Shichani, a lady from Xiangcheng, was beaten so hard that her bones and tendons were broken, and she died an unexpected death. Huo Tai Sui Chi Lu also vomited blood and fell into the river. However, this person was an elder from Huashan, and his cultivation level was not comparable to that of Shichani. Li Ning knew that every time he calmed down and was about to search for his whereabouts, he heard a scolding sound in his ears. Demon Dao, you dare to commit evil even when you are about to die. In an instant, the sky and the earth turned silvery white, and a huge crescent moon fell from the sky. Screams rang out, and a few traces of blood floated in the slightly turbid river water. After a while, Chi Lu's body also floated up. The smelly black flying needles lost their magical support and fell into the river. Li Ning was slightly frightened when he saw this scene. The black needle he just saw was extremely poisonous, and it was less than 3 feet away from him. Although he was protected by the Sankei divine sect, his two sworn brothers were only just a warrior in the innate stage. There is absolutely no way to stop this poisonous flying needle. In Li Ning's scrutinizing gaze, a tall woman wearing a white dress and a white gauze mask, and a girl about 14 or 15 years old wearing a pink dress with a double bun, slowly emerged from the air. Come flying. Xie Hongying and Miao Ying have met Uncle Master. Seeing the two of them, Li Ning sighed in his heart. They were all their nephews and masters. As a result, one in the early stage of Yuan Shen and one in the early stage of Yuan Ying had higher cultivation than his uncle. However, this is not the first time he has encountered this situation. As for the direct disciples of Chongshan, unless they have just started, one will be better than the other. Are you senior sister Miao's disciples? Exactly. Senior sister Miao is indeed a powerful person who has been trained for 2 generations. Even her disciples are so extraordinary. Uncle is overly praised. Xie Hongying, who was wearing a white dress, said respectfully, "Uncle comes to Chang'an, but wants to return to the sect." Li Ning nodded. "It just so happens that we are going back too. If my uncle doesn't give up, he can come with us." She only opened her invitation after seeing that Li Ning's boat was shattered by the fight just now. "Forget it, we men can't go with you. Besides, there are many boats on the river, and we all have silver. We just need to find another one." Xie Hongying thought so and said nothing more. "Master Uncle," the third master's uncle ordered the Huashan evil sect to be wiped out. "Now Huashan's founder, Li Huo, has been captured by my master, and his junior brother Shi Nangzi has also been killed by senior brother Huo Wuovai, a disciple of Uncle Zhuge. Now my uncle has captured Huo Tai Sui Chi Lu and Xiang Cheng Lady Shi Chanyi. This is a great achievement. We should bring these two to the Academic Affairs Office of the Academy to verify their identities and receive their rewards. Chi Lu was killed by my nephew. Of course, this credit must be recorded on my nephew," Li Ning said quickly. "If he hadn't been severely injured by Uncle Master's golden palm, I wouldn't have killed him so easily. In the final analysis, Uncle Master's contribution is the greatest." After that, he bowed. "Uncle, I have to go back to the academy with my junior sister to meet my mentor, so I won't stay any longer. Farewell." As soon as the words fell, the two of them turned into light and quickly disappeared into the distance. Looking at the direction the two were leaving, Li Ning opened his mouth, shook his head and sighed. With a move of his hand, the bodies of Chi Lu and Shi Chunyi flew over. As nascent Soul Realm monks, the two of them did not have many magical weapons, but they were not ordinary and were of great value. Li Ning doesn't like it, but he can exchange it in Kongshanfang Market. Facing the North Sea and seeing the blue sky at dusk is what I want, Zhou Lang, who was dressed in white robes, praised. Yang De, the young man carrying the sword, also agreed. "Two worthy brothers, let's go. This place is still far from Chang'an." The three of them continued on the road, but after the fight just now, they had no intention of continuing to enjoy the river scenery on both sides of the bank, and hurried all the way to Chang'an. "Is this Chang'an city?" "As far as the eye can see, there are row upon row of houses, extending from the pier to the city gate. The main street is bustling with hawkers and walkers, and a steady flow of people. The outer city alone was more prosperous than any city the three of them had seen before. Come on, let's go in." Li Ning invited the two of them to go into the city along the main street. Along the way, they discovered that the outer city of Chang'an City was not as messy as the outer cities of other big cities. Instead, it was completely planned, with streets, houses, shops, etc., everything in order. To sum it up, it is messy but not messy. After stepping through the tall city gate and entering the city, except for the increasingly prosperous streets, everything was not much different from what they had seen elsewhere. However, it was different when the three of them came to the street where Chongshan Academy was located. On both sides of the wide street are tall lofts with various styles. Many of them are 4 or 5 stories tall, 20 or 30 meters high. Li Ning could clearly sense the traces of mana without using his spiritual consciousness. "I haven't been here for 3 years, and this place is more prosperous than the last time I saw it. Since the establishment of Kongshanfang City, due to the growing influence and the number of people participating, the event has been changed from once a year to once a month now. Including Imei, Wuodang and other sects, after seeing the benefits of the market, they also set up a market at the mountain gate. However, they do not have as many disciples as Chongshan Academy, and Chongshan City occupies the first place in the city, so they are inferior in comparison. What's more important is that the City Hall of Chongshan Academy is built within the cave sky, so its safety is guaranteed. Driven by many conditions, in the past 10 years, Kongshanfang City has become more and more prosperous, spreading almost throughout the entire spiritual practice world. The popularity of the market also provides a good platform for people who like to make alchemy and weapon refining. They can easily sell their own elixirs and then purchase medicinal herbs from the market, saving them the trouble of traveling across mountains and rivers to find medicinal herbs. Therefore, more and more casual cultivators and alchemists are gathering here. They cannot enter the academy, nor can they enter the market when the market is not open. They simply buy houses and build their own houses on the street outside the academy. Dojo. Year by year, there are more and more people here, and even many ascetic monks who like to practice quietly have joined in. The head effect made Kongshanfang city more prosperous.